are now rocking with DJ Oz, Ozzy.
They don't know I do it for the culture, oh man. They don't know I do it for the culture, oh man. I should watch the stuff I post, come on man. I should watch the stuff I post, come on man. I should watch the stuff I post, come on man. I should watch the stuff I post, come on man. All the rumors are true, yeah. What you heard, that's true, yeah. Him and you, yeah. If you believe I do, all the rumors are true, yeah. What you heard, that's true, yeah. Him and you, yeah. If you believe I do,
I think we made it.
What's up, motherfuckers?
I'm afraid to talk.
There's my greeting. I was like, Jenny, you do the intro because I always start out like a buffoon, like, "What's up, motherfuckers?" She was like, "Nah, dude,
Yeah.
do you, boo?" So, what's up, motherfuckers?
Fine. Okay, we're gonna test something because we've been working on audio in the background, and for whatever reason, Maya's echoing, and it could be us. Who knows?
Hi. God damn it.
If I hear it. Yeah, I hear it on the stream.
Damn it, Bobby.
We're gonna fix it. It's fine.
We gonna fix.
I don't know what to do.
What's crazy is I don't hear it.
That is kind of crazy.
That's wild. Is it bad on YouTube?
Chat would say you. Oh yeah. And Jared, what's up with Double Maya?
Damn it.
That's a great question.
Let me see here. Well, Jenny, if you would, please go ahead and give the intro to everything. I'll see if I can get this shit figured out.
Okay.
Please, thank you.
Well, anywho, I think. Well, welcome first and foremost. Shit. Let me start there. Hi, y'all. Some faces are new. Some faces I haven't seen in a while. Some faces have been here consistently. Welcome. So this is part 2 of a documentary that Oz and I reviewed about over a week ago, called "Deconstructing Karen." Now, this documentary came out in 2022. I've been really good, patiently good, not to watch the rest of this documentary because we've been wanting to save the latter half of this documentary to be more organic with us reviewing it, responding it, all that good stuff. But in so many words, it's this documentary regarding these 2 women, one black woman, one Indian woman, that pretty much hosts, and it's a real organization called Race to Dinner. It's really, really great and powerful, where they sit down with a formal dining room table of a group of white women, and they talk about, race issues, more focused on, surrounding politics, surrounding how black women or black people in general have felt and faced things throughout, all the years we've been here in America. It's really powerful. And if you haven't watched the first, even if you don't watch our stream that we reviewed on last week, at least watch the entire documentary for yourselves and, get your own judge of it, because it is really, really fascinating and powerful and interesting. And I think everyone should view it, no matter who you are, because it really opens the opportunity to actually have a sit-down conversation, come to the table, come to Jesus type of moment to where you are forcing a group of white individuals that have privilege and have no idea what it's like or have been faced with what people like me and Maya or anyone like that have faced with, throughout this. Yeah, in so many words. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought when I was speaking. I'm just too excited to watch.
You're doing great. Unlike me.
Yeah.
All right, how about now? Are we still getting double the Maya?
Are we?
Double the fun.
Not too bad. Say words, Maya.
Where's Maya?
I don't know.
Do you hear it, Jena?
I do a little bit, but not as bad as it was.
How about chat? Chat, how's it sound overall?
No echo now? Oh. No echo now.
Crystal says she doesn't.
No echo
I hear
now.
it. Jared, do you hear it?
Just a little bit. It's not terrible.
As long as it doesn't sound like we're doing paradiddles on a snare drum.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're saying sounds reverb.
Sounds reverbish. Okay, well.
Because I have a lot to say, so I don't want to.
Oh, I bet.
Well, let me, if we're hearing reverb, let me make sure I don't have reverb turned on my
See, that's what I'm saying. It could not be you, Maya, because I know you.
Rodecaster.
I'm just like, I use EV Max every week. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. It's just got his voice.
Hell, if the people like it, fuck it.
Well, I don't want them to be. I don't know, annoyed because I know how they are. we have what do you call it? Audio issues on my side. They go a little nuts.
Well, sometimes you just got to fucking deal with it. All right. I turned any of my processing and reverb off on my Rodecaster. So if it's still there, y'all just gonna have to deal with it.
We tried. Sorry.
Point blank, period.
I don't think we have any general complaints. But
All
anyway.
right. Well,
And Jay and I will mention this. Jay, if you happen to pop in, see this, I sent you the link. You're more than still welcome to bring your ass. No, just
I watched your video from last week. I saw him in the live chat. He had so much to say. I was really hoping he'd be able to make this one.
absolutely.
and he still
I have a lot
might.
to say about this.
He still might. But yeah, Maya, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Especially that last second. I text Jena while she was at work. I was like, "Hey, you want to finish that tonight?" She was like, "Yeah." So we kind of started, like let's. Obviously, Jay wanted to get a hold of Maya, so thanks for last minute hanging out with us. I guess you kind of gave the rundown, but for those that haven't watched the actual documentary or even the first half of the review, we did would just get you caught up on the characters. And boy, are they some characters.
Man got notes.
So sitting at this table, we have Sarah. Sarah believes she's colorblind. Lori says, Lori has a biracial partner and is kind of woke. Holly is from a family of slave traders. Jessica is half Latino, half white. Hazel, I did not get good notes on, but we have Hazel as well. We have Marnie, also says she's colorblind and claims that news, media, social media is only making things worse. Allie, son has been victimized by reverse racism. And Michelle, all I wrote down for Michelle was fluff, because she's one of those where
Is
it's
that the
just
hippie
like,
one?
it was I believe that was the older lady, the very last one to talk, where like everything is just like peaches and cream and
Yeah.
unicorns and rainbows and shit, and can't see probably past her own fucking hand. So, kind of get everybody caught up on the characters. So, anything you ladies would like to say before we hit the play button?
I have plenty. What I want to know from Maya, because I know you say you saw a little bit of either our stream or the documentary itself. What would be your brief 2 cents? I say brief because I know you have plenty.
Me or us?
Yeah. Oh, you. Definitely you.
Okay. So wait. Carrie Ann's last time, was there something you did on your side, like a muting on your side?
I can try it. I can try it. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Hello, testing. No way. So it only likes when one of us talks and not the other?
Yep.
Basically, you that you're going to talk, and Oz would mute himself.
Carrie Ann remembers how you fixed it. You stop talking.
I will shut the fuck up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jenna, what were you saying that you wanted?
Yeah, no, I was saying, I know you had watched either our stream briefly or just the documentary in general. Like, what would be your brief 2 cents of what you listened to?
Okay, so God, there was so much, because I think you did like 2 or 3 hours last time, and I loved it. I speed watch everything, and I was at work watching it, just like, no, stay awake, you can do it, I believe in you. But yeah, I do want to thank everybody for saying, like, stop saying you're colorblind. I'm going to chime in there because holy shit, it's just not helpful. It is not helpful. And again, colorblind is, I want to remind everybody that colorblind is the goal. We can't get there being colorblind, maybe one day, but not today, right? What we need from allies in particular is to see color, be sensitive to it, and to pivot as needed. And I know a lot of people, they hear that and like, oh my God, I have to, make accommodations for the coloreds. And we're like, yeah, just like you have to make accommodations for old people or kids, or, when you're talking to your boss or your pastor, when you pivot, when you're talking to the judge or the cop. We do this intrinsically. It's not hard. It's just a facet of living in a society, understanding that there are things that affect other people and adjusting yourself to meet their needs. And here's the beauty of it, though. When people see you doing that, they are more willing to do that for you too. Whether, it's a mechanic talking to a woman, or, your waiter or waitress, or, I don't know, just, maybe some stranger that sees you with, a heavy package or, load. It was just like, can I hold the door, help you with that? I mean, it costs you nothing to be nice to people. And I know.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the other thing was just the fact that they were willing to have the conversation, and we need more of this. And so when I talk to my audience a lot, I'm saying, I need you guys to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's what the movement needs. And there's going to be a lot of uncomfortable conversations, especially the next 4 years, as we're trying to have these conversations with our peers, our family members, whoever. It's not, God, you're wrong, just shut up. It's, let me explain to you why you're wrong. And there's just a lot of people, and I'll throw Grayson out there, I'll throw Mark Reed out there, just the patience of God. Holy shit. Well, or God, probably not the patience of God. I probably have the patience of God. They maybe have the patience of Job or somebody like more tolerant than me. But like that's and it's also the reason I don't do debates, because like when I see people that are just like that stupid, it's just like, you're not even, do you read? Like, holy crap, how did we get here? I just get indignant and tired and I walk away. What we actually need is people like this having the conversation, because nobody's going to be more tolerant than somebody who loves you. And yeah, and that's what I need from everybody here, because I think that we live in a society where we don't want to be hurt, upset, just anything that is draining or what we perceive to be negative. We don't want to go there, but we need to go there. And the people, when we're thinking about people who are in cults, in just in kind of this like religious kind of thinking, Trump supporters get into your Trump supporter friends, and I'll throw Crystal out there because her father was having an issue with quote unquote the Mexicans. And she's yelling at him, she's breaking it down, she's like, Dad, people say that about me, like the thing that you're doing, people, she's bringing it home. And that's what we need. You as family are part of their in group. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to, listen to somebody that they don't feel that they have deemed as an outsider, because you don't get them. So I need everybody to step up. If you have an idiot in your life, like, you've got to figure out a way to like have those conversations. And again, don't do more, like they'll break your brain. They'll drive you crazy. I'm not asking you to like go mad. I just start pushing boundaries. Why do you think that? How do you know that? Who told you that? Start to just break the foundations of what is a good source.
Right.
Absolutely. And the point you made earlier.
Shut up now.
No,
you're good.
You're good. Thank you. No, I appreciated all of that. The exact point you made earlier on, saying, people taking issue of making accommodations for other, race groups, ethnicities, gender groups, whatever. And that's the problem, because why do we have that mentality of thinking like, oh, we have to make accommodations for people that are Black, or accommodations for people that are old? I'm like, no, you just should treat people as people, and that's it. It's not an accommodation just because I'm a different skin color than you, or I'm a female, or I'm a non-believer, or whatever else. It's
Right.
I'm a person. That's it. But everything else, solid.
Hi, everybody.
Now, there's a couple of thoughts I had, and then I was thinking about the side chat, and then I was also thinking about the mute button all at the same time, and I cannot multitask for shit. So, babe, can you please be in charge of the mute button, or we're never going to get anywhere tonight?
Well, I can't do it for you. Can't you just do it from your soundboard?
Well, no, because it's the little in EV Bucks, the little mic
Oh,
button.
for you.
Well, that should do both of us, because we're on the same soundboard.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
If not, yeah, if not, it's gonna be a long evening.
I got you.
All right. Well, before we play the video, just wanted to again say what's up to everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll come back and greet you and holla at names. But let's get into the video, because this is what we're here for, and it's it's interesting to say the least.
Yes.
And yeah, hopefully Jay joins us. I think he's still doing the
family thing.
Family thing, the holiday family thing. So hopefully he rolls up here
Nice
soon.
family and state.
Yeah.
Yep, we did our. I have a little bit of family left in state, but this one not because of people, But the food, my grandma's 94 now, and she usually did all the cooking, and now the cooking has just dwindled to like pick shit up at Walmart.
It was interesting. I actually cooked up my shit.
So it was like, God damn it.
I don't know what else everybody else was coming with, but anyway.
Hold on, let me get this shit spread out here.
Yeah, we have a bit of blended family now. So my mom and her sisters, they my grandma, like they'd cook for days before Thanksgiving and Christmas. And a couple of my cousins married white women, and we love you, white women. But if you could just stop voting red, like that would be great. And on behalf of the women in my family, if you could just stop putting raisins in fucking everything, like that would be helpful too. Apparently.
Yeah.
Got it. You told me to control it. Now you messing with it.
Well, no, because it just go ahead. It leaves me muted, so I'll unmute me. No, you know what I mean.
Oh.
Because there's sometimes I just need to shut the fuck up anyway. So that works. But yeah, the raisins. I'm with you, Ma. I don't get the raisins. I don't get the raisins. I don't want raisins in my goddamn salad.
Nothing. I don't want raisins in anything.
Jesus.
None of it belongs anywhere for Thanksgiving. Anyways.
Anyway, let's get to the video talking
shit.
about raisins and salad and shit. All right, here we go. So this is where we left off last time. Oh, hold on. We haven't done the proper. Hold on. I know I keep saying we're going to do it, but we got to do this right here. It is the tea. It is the teacup. Have a drink, smokable, edible, whatever it is the fuck you do to have a good time.
1, 2, it goes 1, 2, 3.
Get fucked up. 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 Get fucked up.
All right, now we can proceed.
The minute he started talking about Mexican rapists, I knew that was going to be a benefit, not a detriment.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. They want to change your religion. I don't think so. Not going to happen. I am the least racist person in this room.
Are you racist?
I am the least racist person that you have ever met.
President Trump is not backing away from his stunningly racist attack on a group of minority members of Congress. Instead, he's trying to defend it.
They're not happy here. They can leave.
Why do we want these people from, quote, all these shithole countries here?
What the hell is going on?
But what Donald Trump's presidency has done for me has completely taken the veil off of white liberals and white Democrats and your complicity in Donald Trump. Over the next few months, I started paying a lot more attention. I typed out an essay. I'm a brown woman who's breaking up with the Democratic Party. And I just laid out, like, I'm done with the party. Like, they don't care. They don't care about black people. They don't care about marginalized people. They care about themselves and being white saviors. And I put that into words. The Huffington Post ran it, and it went fully viral. Dear Democratic Party, you are the love of my life. I fell in love early and hard. I've been the kind of party loyalist, the kind of sappy, soapboxy, cliched devotee that makes Fox News moonwalk with glee. The first vote I ever cast at 18 was for Bill Clinton. The last vote I cast was for his wife, Hillary. My adoration for Hillary bordered on mania. In college, I named my ficus plant after her. 20 years later, I canvassed, held fundraisers, even dragged my 8-year-old daughter door to door. I loved you so much I cried each time I voted. You've been that kind of mad love to me, and now I want to break up. I realize now that the love has been one-sided, unrequited. You've never recognized me as a brown woman. You've taken my love, my money, my tokenism with nary anything in return. You married the white woman and hooked up with me on the side. Black Lives Matter is a second or third thought. Where's your outrage over the national epidemic of police brutality against black people? And for all your talk about dreamers, there's been little action. You don't seem to give a crap about kids of color who will be kicked out of this country, the only country they know. What if all those dreamers were white? I suspect a very different outcome. My fellow brown and black sisters started to notice too, and then the chatter began. First in whispered hushes, and then loud and clear. You are a party of white feminists. Of white feminism, the kind of feminism that focuses on the struggles of white women. It was the first time I'd heard the term, most likely because self-awareness is hard, and I was a brown woman trapped in a white feminist world. But then I woke up and I saw you with clear eyes.
God,
Go ahead.
I have so many issues. Just already. One, like it is not good to have this kind of love for your party. I want to remind everyone that we pay them. They work for us. They should be our fans. They should love us this much. They are public servants. This is what they call themselves. Do you know what a servant is? Like this whole we look at people like, Trump supporters and, we call them maggots and all these like words because they worship like that. That's not a good thing. And I don't think that, certainly that the left should embody these things. When you have this kind of a love, like it makes you blind to, and as she's saying, it makes you blind to the things that they're doing. I was Catholic. I was told that I was supposed to be a Republican. When she was voting for Bill Clinton, I wasn't able to vote there. And I had always been a third party voter up until actually Trump. I was a third party voter until Trump got in the ring. And then it's like, oh crap, like it's getting real. And that's when I'm like, okay. And since then, I've only been Democrat. I was registered Republican. I voted third party. I've never voted for a Republican in my life. And even though I was registered as one until 2008, when I saw 2009, when I saw what they were doing to Obama. And I was like, oh, this is not my party. I don't want to be affiliated with these people in any way, shape, or form. And it really upset me that it took other Republicans so long, like moderates, like centrists, to start to move away from the party. I don't know how you look at the way they treated Obama and say, yeah, this is a party of any kind of values. All that aside, it's that love that gets you thinking like that. And for her to have that, I'm like, this isn't a good thing. This isn't a good thing for you to embody. You're naming your plants after public servants. Why?
Right.
But and then the second thing oh God, what is she saying right now? It's something. Wait, can you give me like 5 seconds of what she's saying right now? Because I have a bone to pick with what she's saying.
Absolutely. 1 second.
Sure. Yeah. On occasion, for the record, for those in the chat, we're going to occasionally echo because based on me and Oz's soundboard, we just have to. So it'll be in and out sometimes, but just bear with it. We're going to do our best.
Yeah. Sorry.
My money, my tokenism, with nary anything in return. You married the white woman and hooked up with me on the side.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter is a second or third thought.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing. This is something that Black people have known for a very long time. So recently, like again, ever since Trump got into the party or threw his hat into the ring, we start hearing white people talking about doing the things that we've had to do all along. This whole, well, you vote for the bus that gets you closest to the building, not the one that drops you off at the door. Because the bus is never, we've had to run after the bus until it stopped for a white person. Like, that's just been the whole, like that phrase is kind of like Black people voting, period. We've never been able to run without being kicked out of the race or being winning and actually being either lynched out or forced out at gunpoint or like some other kind of effery, right? And I mean, if you look at the whole of like Black people in politics, since we've been allowed to vote or, been out of slavery. Like, that's been what we've been doing. We've always known that. They've always known that they need us. We've always known it. We've always had to vote for them because the other party has always been trying to kill us. And I love that she's had the epiphany. But I'm also very, I don't know. I guess it's just going to be a hard and rude awakening for a lot of the other non-white men to realize that both parties only pander to Christian white men. Because if you piss off those guys, they will start a movement against you that you will never recover from. And that has been what we've had to deal with since we were drug over here in boats. It just is what it is. And I mean, yeah, sure, you can have the righteous indignation about it, but you got to have a strategy. They're never going to come for you if you're not a Christian white man and probably cis het. They're never really going to come for you.
Right.
Yeah, exactly that.
And real quick, I think now I remember the muting of buttons was key in the echoes, but I think I remember what it was. Babe, if you hit, because we're sharing the soundboard, if you'll hit the mute button on your screen.
It is muted.
Is it muted now?
It's been muted. I always have it muted.
Okay. Maya, could you please give a little mic check, 1, 2?
Testing. Yeah.
Let us know if that got any better
it.
there. You still hear it? Damn it. Damn it. All right. I'll keep muting myself as well. Then
We'll work it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out. The one thing I want to rewind back to especially white dudes, listen. When you get up and say the bullshit like Trump's talk, I'm the least racist person you've ever met. I'm the least racist person in the room. I'm the least Guess what I've never had to say?
Those things.
I've never had to make an announcement.
Right.
Jenna, have you ever had to tell people that you were not racist? Oh, now you read it. You got to unmute her now. She's got to answer my question.
Sorry, I got it. No, I've never had to do that, ever.
You know who frequently has to do that?
Who?
I frequently has to say, I am not racist.
Donald Trump.
Racist.
Anyway, that's what I mean, because he's racist.
I thought we were going to say somebody else. That's why I was like, wait.
Oh, right. No, if you are frequently telling people that you are not racist, it's probably because you are acting racist. Just saying.
Yeah, it's when you have to get up and make those type of announcements.
Mm-hmm.
More times than not, you are that, good sir.
Exactly.
So, sorry, but you planted your own gotcha. You planted your own gotcha. All right, here's the veggie.
Where's your outrage over the national epidemic of police brutality against black people? And for all your talk about dreamers, there's been little action. You don't seem to give a crap about kids of color who will be kicked out of this country, the only country they know. What if all those dreamers were white? I suspect a very different outcome. My fellow brown and black sisters started to notice too, and then the chatter began. First in whispered hushes, and then loud and clear. You are a party of white feminists. Of white feminism. The kind of feminism that focuses on the struggles of white women. It was the first time I'd heard the term, most likely because self-awareness is hard, and I was a brown woman trapped in a white feminist world. But then I woke up and I saw you with clear eyes for the very first time. I know there's some good ones among you, but for every Kamala Harris, Maxine Waters, or Pramila Jayapal who are sticking their brown and black necks out for me, There are dozens of white women Democrats who want me to shut my trap and just say please and thank you. I should be grateful for scraps while white women enjoy a proper marriage with you. I'm done with all of that. In the meantime, I'll be on the sidelines, waiting, watching, hoping, praying. You broke my heart.
So I'm not really sure where she's going with that.
Why don't you run for office? Which is so funny because it's so the amount of privilege it takes to run for office, but most people can't do that. If I don't challenge the status quo, then I need to shut up. If I have the privilege to challenge the status quo and I don't, then I need to shut up. And I
Is
said
she
I'm running
running?
for Congress.
Oh, thank God. I was going to say, like, if you're going to say something like that, like, you know, just like leave it on the table and be like, I'm going to sit over here until you, you know, try to get my vote. You primary from the left. It's the only thing you do after saying something like that. I am so glad to see that that's where she went. Because again, they will never come for you. The goal is to get you to sit down and shut up. That is the whole goal. They want us to not vote. So the next time you're just like, well, I'm not going to vote there until they earn it. Nope. They got what they wanted from you. You just played into their game. Puppet.
Exactly.
Well, that's what, when I heard you said, I was like, you said, where is she going with this, or whatever it was you said. I was like, yeah, that's why I keep, because normally I have more frequent pauses, but this whole buildup, I'm like, where are we weaving a web here, or what? What the fuck are we doing?
This is best case scenario. I would like to take this moment to just remind everybody that we all need to primary from the left. And I don't see Robin Webster in here, but I'm proud of her. And I'll tell you why. She is a registered Republican in Kentucky. Now, Kentucky, much like many states, not all of them, but many, will not let you vote in a primary unless you are in a party. So if you are independent, you can't vote in a primary because there's no independent party. They just don't have Democrats running in Kentucky. And I can go down that about why. And I understand why there's not. But for her to primary from the left, she needs to be a Republican voting for the most moderate Republican of the two. I know, right? And that's what she's got to do. But, you know, and she's in the trenches and she's doing it, you know, one election at a time, trying to, you know, just get the lesser evil. And, you know, understanding the history of the Black fight, it's been a long haul. Every president has been racist. And you try to find, well, which one's less racist? And, you know, before you know it, you got Bernie Sanders running. Sorry, Oz, you look like you want to say something. I'll shut up.
No, don't ever take that. No, please don't shut up. That's we want you here to hear you, listen to you. To me, when a lot of the things that I'm listening, because again, I'm sitting here taking notes, right, and I'm listening to YouTube. Even I went and listened to Jay's stream. I think he did it a day or two after Jena and I's stream, and there's still so many things that I know that I can do better. And while I'm thinking that way, simultaneously I'm thinking, okay, when I think about the people that are in my life, and when I say that, like, we talk about our sphere of influence, our family, close friends, things like that. What and how can I make this a conversation? And even if it ends up being that I lose a quote unquote relationship, am I willing to go? Now, I have no problem cutting a motherfucker off. The reason I bring that up is the more we're going to talk about this is are we privileged white people, are we willing to lose friendships in relationships for standing up and realizing, no, this is an issue, this is a problem, because that's really at a granular viewpoint. That's really what we're talking about. Is are we actually willing to sit down and go head to head with this and not sugarcoat it, not just pat people on the back because they are family and or friends, but it's okay because I love you. No, it's still not okay, because guess what? I love Jena, I love Maya, I love Jay, and Anna, and I love them, and I care about are we willing to do that? And that's what I'm hearing echoing in my brain the entire time I'm listening to these videos.
Yeah.
And I just did it. People call me an angry brown woman.
Too ambitious.
Bitchy. Bossy.
Pushy.
Shrill.
Emotional. Abrasive. Impatient.
Nasty.
Why are you running as a Democrat?
Hold on real quick, because y'all know I got to throw comedy in. No matter what, I have to inject comedy in this. No matter. Did she say trill? We got to keep it trill. Did she say that? We got to keep it
I didn't
trill.
hear that.
Shrill.
Oh, shrill.
Shrill.
Man, I thought we was about to go gangster. I thought she said we gonna keep it trill. I was like, she must be from the dirty. We gonna keep it trill. All right. Anyway.
I'm running as a Democrat because I think we can take the party back.
I thought, you know what? The chances of me winning are less than slim to none, but I'm going to mainstream the topic of white supremacy within the Democratic Party come hell or high water.
Cyrus' campaign was very unusual in that the people who worked on her campaign were largely people of color. The commitment was huge, and it was very different from most campaigns.
Those kids in cages could be your kids. Yeah. Those parents could be me. Those parents could be you. Let's be clear about this. Removing kids from their parents is dictionary definition of fascism. And then I started picking up a lot of steam by the progressives, by brown people, by black people, by white millennials, by people in tech. So how many people in this room voted for Donald Trump? Okay. How many people did not vote for Donald Trump? The ones of us who did not vote for Donald Trump, do you think you're less racist than these two?
That's a weird judgment.
I think I'm more aware of my
I don't know about less
racism than those two.
racist, but definitely less stupid.
Definitely less stupid. And it's funny because I'm not surprised that it was the two usuals, because remember who those two usuals are.
The two that look like they should be a Fox News host.
Right. And I say that because it's the blonde chick here and the other one on the other side of her. They're the ones that visibly and I would say verbally too have been the most like, oh, wow, you're so aggressive and blah, blah, blah. Like they're out there and have racial husbands and all that great shit.
I mean, I could be less racist than them. I need more information than that because I've heard Trump supporters speak, and I'm pretty sure I am smarter than all of the ones that are not in Congress.
Yes,
and most of the ones that are.
And to that question, because I even saw one or two people in chat like that's a weird question or a dumb question, but I think that was a perfect question. It's a perfect question because do you actually think because you didn't vote for this person that makes you less racist? That's no, it does not, because we can break it down way further than just voting for Trump, right? But it is again that well, I'm better than you, right? And I have this thing more figured out than you, mindset where it's like, well, I didn't vote for him, so that makes me listen to that question, less racist. Less, not that you're not racist.
Right.
It makes you less racist. It's a perfect question because then they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's me."
Right. And for those that haven't seen the first part of this, like, let it be known that one of the highlighting questions that these two ladies at the top of the table had asked the rest of the women was, raise your hand if any of you consider yourself racist. 8 out of 10, and I don't know how many are sitting at the table, 8 out of 10 rose their hand and said, yes, they're racist. And only 2 out of 10, I guess you could say, only raised their hand for voting for Trump. So most of them at the table have acknowledged that they have a racist ideal. But the fact that they consider themselves less racist just because they didn't vote for that idiot doesn't mean anything. So there is meaning to that question. I don't consider it a dumb question or something that's, a trick question or anything like that. There is a solid reasoning. If you really think about it, like, it's almost the same mirror effect as saying, oh, I'm not as racist because I have a black friend. Like, someone has literally put that example in the chat. Okay. Okay, cool. That doesn't mean anything to me.
I mean, there's just so many things that come out of that question for me. And, Jay's here. So I'll say it really quick, though. You guys got 2 of them. Like, another thing that jumped out at me when she said that question, like, does it make you less racist? Like, immediately came to me was the us versus them. Like the tribalism that's intrinsic in the growing polarity of, people being brainwashed by fascism and, those of us who can see it for what it is. It does put us in these 2 camps, and it is, making the country more polarized. I think it does kind of bring out that aspect of it. But then also there's this, the question of, no, I think it is more getting back to what Jena was saying earlier, the judging, how we're judging one another. But I want to say, like, off the bat, like 5 things jumped out at me. Just the way she phrased it, I think it was a really good question because it opens up so many more talking points from the way that people answer it.
Absolutely.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Jay? What's up? Hold on, I'm gonna give a proper introduction here. But again, my ADHD ass, I don't want to forget this. Jena, thank you for bringing that up because that you brought that full circle because on the first half, that question was asked, and all these hands went up when they said, "Would you admit that you're racist?" And like over half the table,
said
raised
yes.
their hands and said yes. And then that as a follow-up question was like lights out. Perfect question. Yeah. Perfect fucking question, right? Because again, like I said, it wasn't, do you think you're racist? It's, do you think you're less racist because you voted this Trump. Way? Right. And so it's a perfect tee up. But everybody, welcome Jay to the chat. Mr. Pocket Locker 86. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm a little late. I was making a recording.
You're good. Now it's official. We have the one and only Maya, the one and only Jay joining us here. We can officially now we got the whole bottom screen filled up. So now my brain, when I'm looking at the bottom screen, like, why is it not filled up? The ADHD part, I'm like, all right, now we can get at it. So thanks for hanging out. Maya, Jay, both of you.
Okay, and then also
and he said, "Fuck you, Oz."
He'll jump back. There we go. There we go.
Nah, my shit's always disconnecting. Yeah.
Oh, you good? You're
no
good.
worries.
So, Janie, before we jump back in, any thoughts? I know you've probably been listening. Any thoughts before we get back to the vigia?
I just think, like, overall, I think there's a lot of white people who they play a large role in institutional racism and they don't realize it. And sometimes what I want to say to them is, you built your entire life around not being near black people. A lot of them maybe there wasn't a lot of black people near where they grew up, but for a lot of them, maybe there was. And a big part of what they considered their own upward mobility was to move to the nice neighborhoods and send their kids to the nice school district. And it's very clear, like they work at places where no black people work unless they're like in service positions and stuff like that. They send their kids to school districts that don't have no black kids near church. And then when they're confronted with like, yeah, that might be kind of messed up, or maybe you're not in touch with black issues, there's like this horror and shock and awe. Like, like it's funny.
No, agree. Absolutely. I think, I was going to say something to toggle to that, but because you made a great point. It'll come to me. But no, that's solid. Exactly what you said. It's the whole point of, yes, it goes as deep as white flight, but, in modern times, yes, it stems from that. But the growth from that to today is, you still see that. You see that in the workplace. You see that evidently in schools. It came down to, just to kind of relate this just a little bit, because it was not, but maybe a couple of days ago, babe, that Addie was in the garage with us and we were having a conversation about something. And then I don't know how it landed on this, but we were talking about I think we were talking about her school and what she was learning in like history or whatever. And then I happened to ask her, it started with like sex education. And I just fucking rolled my eyes at the lack of what they're teaching in that regard, but that's a whole different story. But I started to ask more about history and how much she knew, more pointedly, Black history, slavery, all that stuff. And I think she said she hasn't touched anything related to like slavery or Black history since 8th grade. And mind you, she is a sophomore in high school.
Well, yeah, she said it had been 4 years, so it's been longer than that. She's a sophomore. It's been 4 years since they've discussed Martin Luther King Jr., right? Riots, slavery, like anything that. And both Jen and I were like jaws on the floor. Like
that's the most basic shit you can teach. Like I hate to say MLK is basic, but I genuinely say that is the most basic shit you can teach is about MLK and about civil rights movement. The most basic. And you can't even do that on an annual basis.
Sorry, Crystal, nobody knows about the Tulsa Massacre until they like reach adulthood and have to look into it.
So true, because I didn't learn that shit until adulthood.
Same. I at least knew about Emmett Till, which my son did not learn about. I was like, what the actual fuck? I don't know if I can cuss here, but holy shit. That pissed me off.
Are you fucking me?
How the fuck can you not curse?
Like, I can understand you not knowing about like, how women's suffrage was racist, or Medgar Evers, or, but Emmett Till, come on. I'm going to shut up. Shut up.
No, you're good.
Nope, you're not here to shut up. You're here to talk your shit.
Please.
And cuss at the same time.
I just think you steal your history, they can steal everything else and blame you for being in your own for being in this situation that they put you in.
Right. So that, to bring it around what Jay was saying, as far as, white people, you've been the active, vehicle of driving away from us. You're still fucking do it. Still fucking doing it as far as education, workplace. I mean, that was a prime example, and that shook us. I was like, geez. So. And if I may, as the white dude on the panel, I'll just throw this out there because, white privilege does exist, white people. I don't give a fuck whether you think it does or doesn't. It does. And what's that old saying? Winners write history. Mm-hmm. Guess what? White folks, we've controlled the narrative. We've controlled what's been put out in these textbooks. We've controlled the narrative that's been put into the news and the media and social media. And up till what's today?
November 29th of 2024. That shit still is happening. Whether you want to acknowledge it, like I said on my Facebook posts, whether you want to realize it, acknowledge it, or just tuck tail and pretend it's not happening, it's still fucking happening.
Right.
Point blank, period.
And I made a repost of something I posted on Facebook a couple days ago saying, white privilege doesn't mean your life hasn't been hard. It means the color of your skin isn't the one thing that's making it harder.
Yeah, I love that.
That's perfect. That was perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be like, I don't want to get into like white man bad here. Even though, we'll just go with Brits. Brits are bad. But I mean, because my co-host, comes from a slave owning family. He sits on mounds of generational wealth, goddamn trust fund baby, and I love him to death, because he's an ally. When I look at him, when I talk to him, I don't think systemic oppression. He's not the embodiment of that. But anytime I pass a cop, I'm thinking your ancestors were probably like not the slave owners, but like the dumb poor white trash that was paid off to oversee the slaves and treated us horribly because it made you feel better. Like, I don't want to get into necessarily the us versus them being black versus white, and I try to be very careful about that, on my channel, that it's not. Yes, the people who happen to be doing the oppression are white, and that is by design. It's not to say that it's only white people. No movement has ever been successful without a fair amount of white men being an integral part of that movement. But that aside, I want white people to be aware of their privilege and to the effect that your ignorance can have. So to say, well, my family weren't slave owners, or, I personally wasn't the one that owned slaves. I mean, that's great. But you are the beneficiary of that having been done. Even today, we just need your acknowledgement of that, and to acknowledge the effect that it is having on others, so that we're not still perpetuating that, because you are culpable to the extent that you perpetuate or embody, those what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, there's still the problem. Like that's the thing. Like, it's like you don't have to be just like a lot of white people necessarily. Well, a lot of them did own slaves, and a lot of them benefited from the slave economy. That's a whole nother thing. But a lot of them who didn't own slaves still fought for the rights of slave owners to hold slaves.
Right.
Just like today, a lot of poor whites are still the electorate that upholds white supremacy. And like currently, I don't have no sympathy for these people, because largely the behavior of white people just elected another white supremacist agenda that is going to do all types of untold damage to people in this country, particularly minorities. And yes, every demographic should be disappointed by how much of their demographic voted for Trump, because one person voting for Trump is actually too many.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if it wasn't for the vast majority of white people voting for that man, he wouldn't be president. And And if it wasn't for a white supremacist society where a qualified black woman gets told sorry and we're gonna elect this felon instead, like, who did that? Who did that? That was y'all. Just straight up, it was. And so, save the I didn't own slaves, I'm not rich. It ain't never really been about that. It's you participating in a system that keeps people like you, that look like you, on top. And I think about things like reparations. People act like that's such a hard conversation. Why none of the trust fund babies tap I love you, but get the money back, bro? If you really down for the cause, like, and you really, if you, cause look, don't nobody want us to keep our dealings from unsavory business practices. If I went out and did some shady shit right now and made a whole bunch of money, I wouldn't be able to leave that shit generationally to my kids. They would take it from me. So if you really believe your wealth was generated in an unethical fashion, why don't y'all ever get the money back? Nobody ever gives the money back. Never. So come on now, if you want to still be able to benefit from the labor and wealth that your forefathers generated, you shouldn't begrudge other people for wanting the same things, because our families work them fields.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Pragmatic Crystal said privilege means you don't have to see it. That is your privilege. Exactly, PC.
Yeah, actually, part and parcel of the privilege is not seeing it.
I said this to Michael Beverly the other day, but people were groomed to say that they don't see color, which is just awful. You shouldn't say that. I know that came up in your previous one too. But I said, you ever notice how you only say that to people of color? So I know you see color because you don't ever walk up to another white person and go, I don't even see your whiteness. Your race doesn't matter to me. We already know you see color. You should only say that to people of color. Crazy.
That is so good. Go ahead, babe.
That's what that's directly in line with when we first started the stream and Trump was doing this. I'm the least racist motherfucker you've ever seen. I'm the least racist motherfucker you've ever met. The fact that you have to announce that shit already tells us it's bullshit, right? And to what you're saying, Jay, yes. When you have to continually, perpetually, and on and on and on, explain why you're not this and why you're not that. Listen.
Why you deserve this apartment.
I'll fuck. Listen, Whitey. Shut the fuck up and listen sometimes. Just sit down and take notes and pay attention. You don't always have the answer. I know you think you do, but you don't always have the answer. Sometimes the best thing to do is to sit back and say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. I want to learn and I want to understand. Does that mean I will ever share your life experience? Hell fucking to the no, I won't. But I want to understand the best that I can so that I can help, that I can fight, and I can be a friend and a partner and a supporter rather than just playing this doesn't exist. This doesn't apply. That's not me. I'm not racist. Is that true, though? Is that true? Are you willing to have the difficult conversations? Because I think most of them would say, probably not.
Sorry, I brought that back. Anyway.
Back to the video.
It wants to. It wants to play. Believe me, it does.
Yeah, it's weird like that.
It is.
Yeah, Maya, that's why you switched, right?
I've been looking for it. It's just everything else is so hard when you have like multiple people trying to. I mean, EV Bucks is a good. It's a good system until you.
Until it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, this is the problem that I have, and this is why. Well, this is one of the many reasons why Dr. T.
By the progressives, by Brown.
People are on welfare than black people, right? You know that, don't you?
Sure. But I don't know what
sure
that.
everybody-
Well, what are you saying? I don't understand.
In a racist state.
For Donald Trump. Okay. How many people did not vote for Donald Trump? The ones of us who did not vote for Donald Trump, do you think you're less racist than these two?
That's a weird judgment.
I
because
know,
we don't
because
know what
I
they're
think I'm
racist.
more
It doesn't-
aware of my racism than those two. That's pretty ignorant.
The reason these conversations are hard is we've never had truth and reconciliation in this country. Let's take a step back. Based on the genocide of indigenous people, the enslavement of Africans, so brown and black, then the Chinese were brought in to build a railroad, and then like Asians like me, where my family was brought in to deal with science. And by the way, the Indians left India because the British committed genocide in India. It's literally whiteness has killed the brown and black world. Donald Trump has not created racism. Donald Trump has shown us what it is.
One of the questions I have is, why is it that white people think they're the only Americans? That they think they're real Americans, and the rest of us are like pretend Americans.
Oh, I know,
What is that
I know.
about?
I think
White
that's a little bit
Jesus.
of a problem with the we versus I.
I mean, that is
Jesus.
Okay, so that is a big issue, right? She used the key phrase there, truth and reconciliation, and this is something we should be sensitive to because churches use this language a lot. This is very common language in the church, and with the church, it's supposed to stand for like, let's get serious and have the hard conversations, even about the hard things that the church has been a part of. And it's like gaslighting because they don't ever want to really do truth and reconciliation. And they talk about this at the university I work at, which is a Catholic university. And I laugh to myself because the first thing I think about is all of the statues of white people that are all over the campus, and they're all in ivory or marble, like they're all super white. And then all the statues of Jesus, and all of the statues of Jesus on canvas are very interesting because there's very few that are like solid all wood. They are mostly all the cross is made of a dark material, like usually a dark wood, it's usually like a dark brown or sometimes even a black. And then Jesus is made out of a separate material, typically ivory. And so you have these like sterling white Jesuses all over these dark crosses. And I'm like, I'm never going to take any religious institution talking about truth and reconciliation, and you're still going to portray Jesus as a white man, knowing that, you know, really he would be more like look more like a Palestinian. But it is a huge problem that they literally made the image of God and the image of the Savior a white man, despite the fact that the religion does not come from a region with white people. It's
Fascinating.
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that most countries do that. They worship gods that look like them. The problem I have with it is not every country or culture says that whiteliness is next to godliness, and the darker the skin, you know, the deeper into hell you're going, you know, like, and it's not, I mean, Mormonism is especially bad, but then there's like white Southern Baptists that just take it to a whole new level where you can't get into heaven if you're not white. Like God won't accept, like God created you. You can't have the abortions because that's wrong. You're going to hell. But without the abortion, you're still going to hell because God, you know, cursed you with the brown skin. It's just insane to me that like my parents who are from Chicago moved to Arizona a few years ago. Say a few years, about 10 now. And, when they were church shopping, they went into a church that was all white and couldn't get past the greeter at the door. I'm sure you're in the wrong church. Like, really?
That's insane.
You don't encounter this kind of racism in the North. A couple of weeks ago, we had Ethan from the Pro Lib show on, and he lives in South Carolina, I believe. And this was a new one to me. It was just like, I can't be racist. We have Black people in my church. And it was kind of crazy to me. And I'm like, people, what? It's like, not I have the Black friend. I don't have Black friends.
Right.
But I do see the Black people in my church sometimes.
Right.
And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, for a Northerner, I've only lived in the North. Like, it's just so insane to me.
And also,
but then when I go back to the story of my father not being able to get past the greeter at the church to worship the same God that he does because of it. And we know that he didn't say it, but we know this because of the color of their skin. It's the only reason he couldn't sit down in a pew at the church was because of the color of his skin. It's just like, holy shit. Like, this whole, like, there is no difference. It's not even about it being a true American. The true people are white.
Yeah, and part of the problem I have even with these larger conversations is I don't think we can ever really have a proper deconstruction of our race and social issues unless we talk about the religion. And so often in these conversations, they're not willing to go there. But yeah, I do think that the religion being effectively one of white supremacy, because that's the other part of the story that they don't like to tell, is that white Christians did these things. White Christians came over here and genocided Americans. White Christians enslaved my ancestors. White Christians, had the Asians working on the railroads, and all the things that she talked about were white Christians doing that. Just like right now, it's white Christians who put a rapist and a felon in the White House and ignored the insurrection and all of those things. And so it has always been not just that they're white and they're Christians, but that their whiteness and their Christians is what has allowed them to be so ruthless to the rest of us. And that has to be part of the reconciliation, because part of the privilege now is for them to sit around and act like being a white Christian means you're civilized and you're nice and you're honest and you're a kind, decent, hardworking person. And, that's never been the reality, because part of it was foreigners were scary. They worship different gods. And even the brown and Black people who are Christians, they've never seen their faith as humanizing them. It's never mattered. It didn't matter that Black man walked in and wanted to worship the same God. He was Black. He clearly can't be here. Right? Like that's what's so scary, Barry. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And great point, Jay. And I think I want to drill down a little bit on that, if we may, because you like truth and reconciliation. Let's and I'm big on make sure we define terms, that way we're all on the same page. And I know we are, but for listeners now and even later. So truth and reconciliation, a process that involves uncovering the truth about past wrongdoing and working to resolve the conflict that resulted, or the matters that resulted from it. I think the biggest problem, Jay, that I see, and again, this is where, as the white dude in the conversation, I'll say it, is unfortunately most, not all, most white folks are terrified of having this part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. They're terrified of this part of the conversation. Is how do we now reconcile it? What do we do to resolve this? How do we resolve this conflict? How do we address it? Because now, in what I hear, typically from white folks is, well, and we've already talked about it. It was I never owned a slave, Jay, Maya, Jenna. I never owned a slave.
Well,
I've never done that.
I'm gonna tell you something I think is funny. I actually think the language "truth and reconciliation" is itself a whitewashed phrase that white people like to use to really speak about what I think they want to call restorative education, which is I, as a white person, learned something about what white people did in the past. Okay, now I've learned history. I feel really bad, but now I learn the truth and I've reconciled myself to the truth. I accept that that is what happened. Yep, we genocided the Native Americans. Yep, we enslaved the black folks. We interned the Asians. We did all those terrible things. Whew, all right. That was tough. I need some retail therapy. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Right. That is what I think they really think it's about. So we would hit them with, first off, y'all are taking our education away. So we can't even have the truth because you don't even want kids to even know about Martin Luther King. You don't want them to know about the civil rights movement. You don't want them to know that their ancestors were slaves in this country. So first of all, we can't even have the truth because you're literally trying to erase our past. Your idea of the truth is, hey, that was a long time ago. Can we just forget it? Do we really have to keep do we have to teach every generation about this? I mean, do we have to just keep this part of our story forever? Like, they really want it to go away. And then the reconciliation part, they never want to do. I'll tell you guys this quick story, and I think you'll see how it relates. When I started at the University of Minnesota, it's a little bit more Midwest for me. And being in Minnesota, they're very sensitive to the fact that the university is built on stolen land. And so they have this thing called land acknowledgement statements. And like in the bottom of people's emails, or even like in the syllabus for the class, it has this statement, and it's like, we acknowledge that the land the university is built on was stolen from these tribes, and da-da-da-da-da, and displacement, and like the whole thing. And when I first got there, I was impressed by those statements. I was like moved. I was like, damn, like this is crazy that like y'all are about it. And you put it in all these things to like really say like this is true and we know that this happened. But by the time I spent a couple of years and I was getting ready to leave, I actually would say at meetings, you should never put a land acknowledgement statement in anything you ever do at this university. And I had a conversation with people about it, and they would say, why? And I would say, because you're not going to give the land back. If I took something from you, you don't want me to acknowledge that I took it. If I say,
hey, this is a nice car you had.
I stole your hat. Like, that was a nice Celtics cap you have. Like, I really love it. But yeah, man, I acknowledge I stole that from you, and I was really messed up. All right, catch you on the flip side. He's gonna be like, what the hell? So think about it. To really reconcile, you got to give it back. And that's the other part. They want to forget the truth, because if we really were to talk about it again, and I'm not picking on Tap, I love Tap, Tap's my guy, but there are a lot of white people who now you've dug into your past and you've realized, yes, your trust fund came off the back of my enslaved ancestors. So you are going to inherit that wealth from slave labor. I ain't getting nothing from the labor of my ancestors. How many of these people will not support reparations bills, but will also not turn around and give back their trust funds? That's what I mean about reconciliation. If you were to really reconcile, you would say, I shouldn't have this money because slavery is wrong. But nobody wants to take it that far.
That's good.
I hear you. I don't, even if all of the trust fund babies did that, I don't think it really goes to the point of like where we need it to go. Now, again, if you are a trust fund baby and you would like to give me in particular reparations, you can go at my accent. Because I do come from slaves. I can prove this. I'm being stupid. Look, the government allowed slavery. The government allowed the inequality. The government, in particular today, our government officials are perpetuating myths to keep Black and brown people down so that they can run on anything at all, because they don't have, policies or anything helpful for the people. They have, you don't want to see them doing better than you, do you? We got to keep you both down. Like, this is what they're running on. Like, what we need to push on is for the government to act in fairness. It needs to get to a point to where it is stupid for us to even ask for reparations because we are all equal. And whatever that needs to look like until it's done. And it's just the only thing that we can ask for is class traders until it's done. Because seriously, rich people extracting their wealth, the government is just going to reabsorb it to give it to themselves. We need a different system. Sorry.
No,
You're good. And we know, and that's why we're talking about it. But we, unfortunately, especially in this conversation, we know who controls the system, who controls it, and it's not those of black or brown skin, and that's why we have to continue to keep having these conversations and slap people upside the head and be like, no, this has always been a problem. It just became a problem. It's always been a problem. And it's time that all of us wake up to it and realize it. And especially us Caucasians realize that we done been fucking up for a really long goddamn time.
Yep.
A really goddamn long time. Like forever. As long as we've known this thing we call America. Right? And I say thing because it's so disjointed and so fucked up, whatever this thing is that we call it, and that we do address it.
And my thing is, I'm not trying to come after anybody's money, but what I am trying to do is get people to be realistic. We live in a world we live in society dominated by white men. Okay. White men will not accept anything less than financial compensation when they've been wronged. That's the society we live. We live in a capitalist society. You do something wrong to somebody, you compensate them for it. And what I'm saying is we should not let people.
Oh, darn.
Oh,
he was on a roll. He got disconnected.
God damn that internet.
Of course, I get disconnected.
There we go.
But what I'm saying is that we should not let people off the hook without understanding the reconciliation part really needs to be there. Right now, the biggest gap between whites and blacks is that they have, on average, 10 times or more the average net worth in their families. And so we will never be on equal footing or have equal opportunities so long as we're operating off of your tithes. Essentially, what needs to happen is you got to realize, oh, this is really messed up because we tried to help stuff. Like we did GI Bills to help soldiers, but then when black soldiers started taking advantage of it, all of a sudden we changed the way the GI Bill looked. We gave people grants to help them start businesses, but we made it really hard for people of color to get those grants. We made it really easy generations ago. We wanted everybody to buy a home and move to the suburbs and get a car, and we made it really easy financially for you to get loans and good mortgages and all that stuff to do that. And even to this day, the first thing a black person has to do when they want to sell their house is get rid of every indicator that black people ever even stepped foot up in this piece, or else you won't get the proper value. So that's the part that has to really happen for us to move forward. Is, I hate to say this, y'all can pray up or you can pay up. It's time you pay up.
I like it.
No, hey, hold on, where's my... God damn it. From a and this is a whole other point in the chat, just be cool, my babies, when I say this, because I am I'll call it a soft capitalist, because I do believe in having an open market and people being able to create their own business, entrepreneurship, all that. But that's for a whole nother conversation. But to what Jay is talking about, yes, y'all want motherfuckers to pay you? How long has, especially in America, as a black community, now we owe them for the years and years and years and hours and hours and hours of work. For fuck's sake. Yes, pay up. And that's what I'm saying. I'm with that. And I know I'm probably the oddball in that conversation. And even if it meant down, and don't say it, Oz, I'll pay extra my taxes off my little W-2. I'll pay extra my taxes, right? To make sure I'm a part of that, whatever that looks like, whatever that needs to be to do that and try to, again, right that wrong. I'm with it. But I know I'm the oddball in that conversation as the white dude. But yeah, for fuck's sake, that is the context, the elements that we live within in the society we live in the U.S. And that's all I'm saying. I'm with it. I'll pay it. Fuck it. I'm down.
Yeah. Video.
Video.
Goddamn. Everybody that drinks, smoke. No, y'all good.
No, say what you said again because I had you muted.
Oh, I was muted. Real quick before we end the video, we haven't done it in a second, so you know how we do it. Whether it's here or
Cheers.
on the DJ channel. Have a drink, smokable, edible, whatever the fuck it is that you do.
2, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, bang. Get fucked up, 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 get fucked up.
And back to the video.
I think that there is the big perpetual we, right? We white women for sure. But I think there's also we African Americans and we were slaves, right? And these things happen to us. That doesn't happen to everybody, right? I mean, I understand, and I am here.
It happened to all African Americans.
Can I just say, I'm embarrassed right now. I'm embarrassed right now. And I know I probably should not, but I apologize for all the white people listening right now. And especially to my black friends listening to this right now. This is embarrassing. Like, this should never been said. What the fuck are you talking about, woman?
Nah, but you know what, though? There has to be, when you come to the table to have a conversation, we're going to have it. She going to set her straight, but it does need to be a safe space to make mistakes. Now, we gonna set the mistakes on the record, but I want people, when they have these conversations, to have these conversations candidly. I tell my students the same thing. You may say something sound crazy, but trust me, you ain't the only person in here that thinks that. So, you giving me an opportunity to correct it for the benefit of the class is helpful. So I know people do say some cringeworthy shit in these conversations, but I used to be a facilitator of race dialogues, and I had to let people know this is a safe space to say some crazy shit.
And I get that. And I do appreciate what they're doing with the race to dinner and everything, but I'm not part of the dinner. I'm observing and listening. And
I feel you.
Like, what the fuck is you talking about?
No, I said that at the very beginning of the stream. I was just like, you know what? We need to do more of this with people who can do it. Those people are not me, because I would have been like, I would have jumped across the table. I would have had her neck in my hands. Like, I'm not good at this.
Right, see, Maya, we're trying to fight stereotypes. Maya's like, I'd have been snatching wigs.
You got to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right?
Maya got up on the desk, like dropping balls.
Oh gosh! All right, let's try and let it run.
I was trying. She said some sideways.
But you're not good with that pause button.
She said some sideways.
I should say you're too good with that pause.
She just opened her neck and like, okay.
He said, "I am the king of the pause button." Look at her. She was like, "What the fuck you don't say it?" Look at her. The fuck you don't say it.
Yeah. It didn't happen to you.
Listen. One of the things that we know, things, let me just say.
I have a lot of Native American history, and I don't take advantage of any of that.
Time out. Are you saying that black people African Americans, descendants of slaves, are taking advantage of that. You just said
That's
you have.
not what I'm saying.
You just said that you have a lot of Native American,
That's right.
and you don't take.
She literally just said that.
The government's.
You actually know that more white people are on welfare than black people, right? You know that, don't you?
Sure. Well, I don't know what
sure
that.
everybody-
Well, what are you saying? I don't
In a
understand.
racist statement, when people are, I feel like there's a lot of conversation where I constantly do feel like it is a we, African American culture, bad things are happening to us, big picture we. And I do agree that there is a lot of big picture we, bad things happening to
All the time.
and I've seen it firsthand.
At these dinners, we see white women behaving badly. And that bad behavior looks like denial of white supremacy, denial of racism, and even denial of slavery. This is nothing new. This has been going on for centuries.
It's not new. I mean, I have the luxury of being able to read about people who whitewash slavery to where, oh, well, they were fed and they weren't. Like, they were, I mean, not well. It's like, or they got free food and free shelter. They like they're just out on the farm for a solid 8 hours with 2 breaks and a half-hour lunch, and then they get to go home and spend time with their families. Totally. I hear about all this stuff, but when you hear it from them, just the absurdity of it is. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you go, babe. You go.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
For a moment, I lost my train of thought. No, and if any of one missed it, I have to repeat it because it was. I know this is the very thing that's raising Oz's blood pressure, but just the mere fact of her saying, she did what she did. She, tried to claim her 2% Native American heritage and say, I don't use my Native American heritage from what back then to say that this is a problem for me now. So you essentially mirrored you attempted to mirror what the black woman was saying, the fact that, that was essentially saying, you weren't the slave. And she said that. She outrightly said that at the dinner, if anyone missed it. You weren't the slave, so why should it bother you now? That is the most ridiculous thing you could ever say to any person that's not white. Like, you weren't the group of people that were mistreated or beaten or tried to be genocidally killed or, wiped off the face of the earth or not. And the fact that you would say, oh, they were fed and they got to go home. That wasn't their fucking home. They were forced to be there against their will to do free labor, slaved labor, not free labor. I'm going to say slaved labor. And we're forced to be there. That wasn't home, honey.
Also, Jena, why can't we get rid of inheritance? I just don't understand. Like, if the system is so good and it's so fair, and we need to stop complaining about everything that happened in the past, why does anybody need an inheritance? Look, let's have a perfect meritocracy. Every generation, we just start over. The reason is because they know that doesn't work. They know generational wealth matters. They are working. They are getting up in the morning to go to work every day, probably in 2 career households, because they need to provide advantages to their children. They know that them bringing a certain amount of money in that house allows them to live in a safer neighborhood, go to better schools, get their children every advantage in life. But then when it turns around on the flip side, it's like, well, why are y'all still talking about the past? Why is everybody talking? And it's like, come on, if y'all really felt that way, then boom, you don't need to give your kids all that money. Right. So they know. They know.
You were going to say, babe.
Oh, they know, Jay. Oh, they know. Because what? There is still slavery today, and it's
Yeah.
it's called the county jail and state prison system. There is still slavery happening today that they work for free. And guess what? Our prison and jail populations are made up majority primarily of whom? Well, I'll let you do the Googling.
Also, I'll give you some real stuff too. Even now, a lot of them will accept underpaid labor from brown and black workers. They'll accept underpaid people to come, help them on their farms, to help them with their children, to help them around the house. And the funny thing is, they will not accept that wage themselves for the same labor. In other words, they will let themselves have a brown nanny who works for less than minimum wage. But if their teen daughter decides to become a babysitter, she'll charge $20 an hour.
If they allow her the job. I mean, that's what they do. It's not what we do. You need to do these, blessed jobs, not what those people do. But I mean, I also want to take this opportunity to remind the white people that we're in a class war, and it may start with the black people. But the next group to get the treatment is the poor white people, and they are trying to dwindle down the middle class so that we are all poor people. So, in case in point, when we talk about slavery, we took away slavery and says it was only in prisons. And now, I want to say 95% of male prisoners are just poor. They're impoverished. They're at or under the poverty line, regardless of rate. I mean, obviously, for systemic issues, it's unproportionately black to the area, but because a lot of the poor white men got grafted into that system, and it is just disgusting. This isn't the us versus them. Is not black versus white. It just looks that way.
Carrie Ann, most people in the transatlantic, the transatlantic slave trade were stolen. They did not sell themselves into slavery.
No.
And they didn't get money.
They didn't sell themselves. A lot of, depending on the area that you're talking about, a lot of them were slaves to other countries because that's what you did. Before all this bullshit started, it was just understood that if your God loved you, you would win the war. If your God abandoned you, slavery was the result. And it wasn't black, white, whatever. Black people were enslaved to black people, white people were enslaved to white people. Slave comes from Slav. It was looked at differently. And if you had slaves that you didn't need to do, you had more slaves than you needed for, whatever reason, or the slaves posed an issue, you didn't want them to revolt. It's like, hey, you want some slaves. Okay, cool. Take these slaves. It's not like when we're talking about American slavery, none of these weren't debt slaves. Insanely early on, you had white debt slaves. But that was not, that wasn't generational. Their children weren't paying their debts for them. And that went away relatively very quickly in U.S. history.
You're saying, babe? Yeah.
Nah, we'll go back to the veggie. we keep going and going.
Let's go back to 1876. when a former slave owner named Lucy Foreman Harley said she was assaulted by 2 black men, leading to a white paramilitary mob killing as many as 100 black men, which witnesses later said was just an excuse to suppress black voters. In 1898, Rebecca Latimer Felton, who, by the way, was a suffragette and the first female United States senator, called for the lynching of thousands of black men if it meant protecting white women. Her claim sparked a riot that killed 25 black men, but of course, she's remembered as a hero, a progressive icon for women's rights. Fast forward to 1908. Mabel Hallam claimed a black man raped her. Black neighborhoods were burned, black civilians were shot, and elderly black men were lynched. And just 2 weeks later, she admitted she lied. In 1921, all that Sarah Page had to do was scream, and the whole black community was burnt to the ground, killing over 300 black people. This event is known as the Tulsa Massacre. In 1931, Victoria Price and Ruby Bates accused 9 black teenagers of rape. The Scottsboro boys went through years of trials and jail time, only for one of the girls to admit she made up the whole thing. In 1955, Carolyn Bryant said 14-year-old Emmett Till was flirting with her. We all know the story of Emmett Till. His brave mother decided to have an open casket so that people could see how he was tortured and murdered.
Out of nowhere, this black guy came up and we just opened the door and jumped in the car.
In 1994, Susan Smith claimed a black man kidnapped her kids, sparking a manhunt that labeled every black man in South Carolina a potential child killer.
It just seems so unfair that somebody could take such 2 beautiful children.
The true story? Susan Smith killed her children herself. In 2009, Bonnie Sweeten claimed she and her daughter were kidnapped by a black man so that she could swindle her boss and go to Disney World. A few years later, in 2016, rookie cop Sherry Hall claimed she was attacked by a black gunman, starting a massive manhunt. But the attack had never happened. She staged it all for attention. Which brings us back to 2020.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. There is an African-American man. I'm in Central Park. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Christian Cooper was bird watching. More white women nonsense.
And yeah, I just want to remind everybody she's skipping over a lot of shit.
And I'm gonna tell y'all like this, like people don't understand, like this is not the past. Like when I grew up, I was the only black kid in my school. Like that was a rule. Like there were parents who called the school. They did not want me in the hallway at the same time as their daughter, and the school did it. They did not say "fuck off, racist white lady." They said, "Yeah, sure, okay, well, yeah, we'll make sure him and your daughter." And they literally made sure we did not change classes at the same time. So, like this shit, I just love because people always be talking about it like it happened way back when we only had black and white photography. I mean, like, no, this shit happens all the time. You know, there's
No, I went to I too went to a Catholic school.
Like, literally, housing discrimination was my welcome back to New Jersey. Like, there was a place that didn't want me to rent from them and told me that they didn't believe my faculty appointment letter from Seton Hall. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I've been told that I couldn't come into people's houses because the only people of color allowed in were the help. I've been kicked out of parties for being black. Jenna, I heard your stories last week. The guy, who said you were too dark to date. I've been told by Black men that if I were any darker, they wouldn't date me.
Same.
Damn.
I've been told that too.
It happens. The whole like the Susan Smith thing. I remember I was in high school when that happened, and I understood. I mean, it wasn't justifying why she did it. I understood why she lied. Said it was a Black man. I'm like, oh yeah, that if you're trying to get away with it, I mean, I could add so much to these stories, but I mean, it's just insane.
So many.
What she didn't say though, we have so many stories of towns being burned down by white women who lied, who came out and said nothing happened to them. She didn't mention that part. Nothing happened to those white women. It's like, oops, sorry. It's like, oh, you such a. Meanwhile, the town's gone. There's hundreds of Black people dead. Nothing happened to those white women. Nothing. And what she's also not saying is that they did it on fucking purpose. It wasn't just like, oh, let's see what happens. They were fucking jealous when we're talking. I mean, about Black Wall Street, but most of those towns were being punished for being successful. Almost all of them.
Right.
They lied because they were jealous. They lied because we weren't supposed to be successful. They lied because we weren't supposed to flourish. Did you see when those stories started? We're talking slavery ended 1865. The massacre started late 1880s. This is like 20 years later. Black people have thriving communities. We were supposed to be too dumb. We weren't supposed to do that. We weren't supposed to be able to build strong communities. They were so fucking jealous they couldn't see straight. They lied and lynched us for decades. This is what's not being said. And this is what's not being told. This is what I didn't know in school. This is what I've been learning in my 30s. We're not allowed to know.
Of course not. Of course not. No, you're right.
I'm sorry. I'm just bad.
No, this is exactly how I was at this stage when we first did this stream. And I mean, we're taking it more deeper in the history aspect versus like the first half of this documentary. But this is the exact feeling. Like so many relatable personal accounts of mine, even as recent as, I don't know how long ago I had this job. It was like maybe, I would say last year, where I had a coworker that was a white man. Like I'm an LPN and he was an RN, or he is an RN, what the fuck ever. And he thought just because of how I presented myself, because I sounded more educated and, sounded more white, quote unquote. Mind you, I'm from California and I moved to Indiana. So white people meeting me sounding not like your stereotypical Black person, it's like, oh my God, you exist. And then so I guess to him, I'm speaking intelligently when I'm just speaking like how I normally do about something that was occurring at work. He assumed I was an RN. He assumed I was more respected than what my level should have been, even though, it doesn't fucking matter. And then he wanted to lean in and whisper to me, and this is an older white gentleman. He's like close to 60 years old. He's like, you're not like the rest of them. And I had to stare at him for like a hard, I don't know how long, because I was just mentally, I didn't know how to respond. But I also was saying to myself, let me not lash out at this person for seemingly wanting to pay me a compliment, but at the same time offended me at the same time. Because I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm not like them. It's crazy because you still have a person today still having that mindset of Black people are viewed this way, so they can't ever respectfully be a person of my status or something of that, because I mean, they sound ratchet and horrible and blah, 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 blah. What the fuck you want to say? It's just unreal. So yeah, I totally buy Jay not, finding adequate housing and not being believed that he's a professor. Totally believe that.
Am I able to share, or can you share this real quick? Because I don't think people understand. Like, this is like a list of some of like the Black massacres. Like when we're talking about, you know, yeah, there was Tulsa, and people know about Rosewood, but did you know about? Did you know the part of Central Park used to be a black neighborhood?
Nope.
There were massacres: Chicago, Springfield, East St. Louis. That was all in Illinois. We're talking about Slocum, Vicksburg, Colfax. I mean, like these are all throughout the South. There's not a Southern state that wasn't affected. You know, we know about Rosewood and Black Wall Street, or the Tulsa massacre. Like there were just so. This isn't even all of them. Like I know the ones that are missing off of here. It's they're talking about Charleston in 2015. There's missing one in South Carolina. Oh shit, I can't remember the name of it, but they're part of South Carolina was part. There were 19 representatives that came out of South Carolina. They got run out of town and replaced by white representatives. They didn't get another like this was in the 1890s. South Carolina didn't get another black representative until the 1990s.
100 years later.
Yeah. It's insane. People don't know.
No, and what's even more crazy, our people don't know. I can tell you,
our people don't know.
Our people don't know. Like literally from that list, the only reason why I knew just one is Rosewood, because it was a movie. Because it was a fucking movie that my parents made me and my sister watch. How gruesome of a fucking movie. If you ever seen Rosewood, is gruesome. And that's the only one I knew. And it's not, like you said, not until like at least my mid-20s that I knew of Tulsa, and then everything else I didn't know of until maybe a few years ago. How sad is that? No, I did not learn that shit in school.
No, I mean it's sad for all of us because none of us, we don't know their names. We know that shit happened. You know, we know that we've been oppressed. We know that this isn't natural shit. We don't know how we got here. None of us. I mean, we'll say none of us. Like, coming out of high school, none of us. Unless you did, like, just some extracurricular shit on your own. If your parent happened to, or, aunt and uncle happened to be an African-American studies person. Like, this isn't normal things to know. You have to care enough to know. And it's nuts because the not knowing is driving the politics.
Right.
Absolutely. And I've been being quiet on purpose. I'll just say this, to be really quick. These conversations, and I just want to give a shout out to I call him Uncle, but my Uncle Lucian, because, man, I got a hell of an education from that man. My godfather, I call him Uncle Lucian, black man, and from an early age was already learning me, was already educating me on these things. And I kind of get emotional thinking about it because I'm so grateful that I had that man in my life, and because I've known him like from my earliest ages, and him having these conversations with me, and I'm so grateful that I had that man in my life and wasn't afraid to have these conversations with me. So shout out Uncle Lou. That's what we call him, Uncle Lou. Shout out because Lou. You made a hell of an impact on this man. So thank you. I love you.
I guess what we probably should do is come up with a date. Are we waiting on? We're waiting on a trademark, right?
That and money.
Because we need money to do the software and.
Right.
Okay. You know, I don't think that we even understand what. Yes, I think it would have to be an app, right?
I think so too. That's the only way we're going to manage.
Yeah. Do you have? You don't have your computer, do you?
I do.
Can you pull it up?
Yes. So, oh my gosh. So this computer is fantastic, except that it needs to be plugged in.
What I just want to know is, are we moving along with getting dinner set up? Look, let's take a real step back here. We have all these black and brown women who want to do this work around the country, and we don't have money from white women to fund software for them to be able to do it.
So part of our business model is to actually get white women to think about how they're spending money, right? So if you're unwilling to drop $200 or $100 or $500, but you're willing to buy a $5,000 purse, or you're willing to take a $10,000 trip to Europe, you know, once a year, every 2 years, 3 times a year, whatever it is, how you spend your money shows you
What
how
your
you value
priorities
things,
are.
because we live in a capitalistic society.
Yep.
And so when you have white women patting themselves on the back and showing you, like, me, pick me, I'm like the most woke. And then you're like, okay, it's going to be $250. And they're like, whoa!
I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe this isn't a thing. Maybe it's.
But we have to keep trying. And because, right, ultimately that could be the answer. It could be a social experiment where it's like, no, you all
failed.
suck.
I constantly toy with shutting it all down. It's thankless, and you don't. Where's the change? It's thankless, and where is the change? Why is it that being called a racist makes you so upset?
It doesn't make me upset anymore, but it would have a while ago. I needed to understand what the term means and look at myself. And I believe that every white person is racist because of the system. And I had to learn about the system to get that.
But why would it have bothered you before?
Because it's such a horrible word, and I don't want to be so horrible.
Okay.
In a nutshell. I mean,
So I want to pause it here and honest question. Maya, Jena, Jay, do you think that every white person is racist?
Yeah.
Okay. And I appreciate the honesty.
Racism is a spectrum, so everybody's on the spectrum, right? Somewhere. I believe I'm not one of those people that think black people can't be racist. I think they demonstrably are.
Yeah, I agree. My family is a good example of that.
Same.
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, I think everybody is on the spectrum. I think even if you're anti-racist, you're still on the spectrum. I mean, in some sense, it's not even like, maybe it's not that horrible in the sense that I think there's some aspect of critical race understanding that, I just think, I think it's inescapable. But what I think is interesting about what she said is it is in a sense a good thing where you've gotten to the point in society where that is such a horrible thing and that's the last thing you want to be known as. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
What the problem is when you get to the point where hearing or learning about race is so uncomfortable that you lose sight of the fact that this is people's lived experience. It's like, yeah, okay, this conversation's a buzzkill for you, white lady, but please understand, please understand that black woman that's just as qualified as you, that you're friends with, that's worked at the same place as you for 30 years, and she lives in an apartment and can't afford to retire, and you know what I mean? That's what hurts. That's what really sucks.
No, yeah, it does. And not to cut you off, but
No, I'm good.
has really perplexed me because like I want to start a conversation, but like for me, it's just like I need to be raw. It's like, these are racist statements. Oh my God, you just called me a racist person. I said you made a racist statement, but who else but a racist would make a racist statement? An ignorant bitch. Like, why don't you shut up and let me finish? It gets to the point where if you even insinuate it, you can't have the conversation. And I can't tell you how limiting that is. And I, again, like Jay's saying, like, I love that this is something that like is so horrible that you wouldn't want to be associated with it, but you are doing the things and we need to have a conversation about it. So like, I need you to shut up long enough and just ask, why would you say that? Like that's out that, and then let me talk because you're going to keep getting called the thing until you stop doing the thing. And I'll finish up real quick, but Black people don't get this indoctrination. Like we are always just very aware of what racism is and that it is a thing that is very prevalent in society. But if you say to a Black person you're racist, they will laugh at you until you get the fuck out of here with that shit. I like jokingly, almost affectionately, but like a white person, I mean, I don't know what would bother a white woman more, being called racist or being called fat. It's like, oh my God. I would go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I wasn't going to say anything more.
Yeah, and I asked that because I would, well, fuck it, I'll say it. And Jen and I have talked about actually since the time we first started talking. I've actually had, I've had people correct me because I've been in and around these conversations for as long as I can remember now, and for so long I said I fucking hate white people. Yeah. I fucking hate white people. I said that for so long, and then I had a couple people check me like, what are you talking about? So I kind of backed off. I backed off on that. So that's the reason I asked that, because I even wonder sometimes in my own internal dialogue, have I flipped the script where now because majority of my friendships, my experience has been watching, just keeping it a buck, watching my Black friends get treated like shit by white guys while I'm still doing the same shit that they were doing, quote unquote, criminal activities, or not even criminal. It was the one white guy with 4 or 5 Black guys, and we get caught up, and they get treated like literal shit, and I'm just kind of patted on the back. Where now, sometimes I feel like I've flipped the script, where it's now, no, I'm like, I fucking hate white people, and so I don't even know how to attack that or how to address that, and maybe I don't even know. Maybe that's wrong on my part. I don't even know how to approach that.
Well, look, I think it's fine. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I think whoever says that to you, I think that's sort of like woke scolding. That's not really productive. I mean, because I think a person's being pedantic. Like, when you say you hate white people, you're really recognizing the way white people operate on a sort of conglomerate, you know what I'm saying, as a social force, and you're like, you're saying something more like I hate toxic caucasity or something like that. But we don't got time for all that. So we just say I hate white people, right? And it's just like, when I hear people say things like they hate men, right? Like you get all up in your feels, like, oh, are you saying all men are terrible? And it's like, no, I happen to like myself. I happen to think I'm a decent man, and I think Oz, you're a decent man, and there's lots of decent men in my life. But it's not about us. It's about understanding what men do to people. It's about understanding, yo, dog, if we ask most women, man versus bear, they're like bear every time. We got to be like, God damn. It really sucks to be part of this group that's more scary than a bear to motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what it's about. Yeah.
And that analogy, that I think you just hit the nail on the head for me there, Jay. It is the bear versus man, and I think that's where I found myself in that context, in those situations, and then walking with. And now, even at 42 years old, and for those I don't even know if Maya and Jay, you guys know this, but in August I did a week. I did a week here in the county jail, and watching the difference between how I'm treated versus those that are not white. Let's say that are not white, and it being reintroduced to that, it kind of started to reestablish that thought in my head. I'm like, no, fuck you, why am I getting treated differently than they are, right? So that's why I asked that, because it's I'll take whatever answer that you guys give me, and I'm gonna take notes, and how do I get better at it. But I even feel like I've kind of flipped the script in my own brain, and I don't even know if that's healthy or not. But Jay, I appreciate that explanation, that analogy. I think that hit home.
And my daughter asked me once, why don't we hate white people? And I'm like, it's too fucking many of them, just deal with it. Lying. I say that. But I think when you start looking at the history of Black people, and when you start seeing what's going on in our country, it's really easy to get into like that mindset, which is why I push back. I'm like, a lot. Because I think it's kind of like with the conservatives too. It's just like, okay, these evangelicals just won't let the fuck up. They're not the entire Republican Party. When you look at the issues, we're actually not that far apart. We're really well aligned. It's the framing that's keeping us from having nice things. And then, these assholes that won't shut the fuck up. But I mean, it's really important to remember that too, that you get it, you put yourself in a bad place whenever you group and hold people as a monolith. It is emotionally beneficial to remember that you have allies and to take stock of who they are.
Absolutely.
The other thing I would say is people got to spend their privilege. And I really mean what I say when I say that people participating in the system really do contribute to the sort of systematic segregation. And so a lot of white people, like they said, think about where you spend your money. That does show you what you value.
Yeah.
And think about where you spend your money. Why did you choose that neighborhood, that job, that school, that church? The list goes on and on. Because I'll tell you something. If you move back to our neighborhoods, they'd be safer. If you shopped at the grocery stores where we shop, the conditions in the grocery store would improve. Even if it was your second job or like a retirement, like you made your money, you retired, but you bored, you don't want to sit at home, go work at the local pharmacy, go work at the local post office or something like that, just something to do during the day, guarantee you the working conditions in that place would improve. See, where y'all go, privilege follows. Where y'all go, good thing. So y'all could just help so much of this by just reintegrating your own life.
Absolutely. It's crazy how powerful that privilege can be.
Yeah.
100%.
That one, hey, that one deserves a drink.
1, 2, it goes 1,
God damn it.
Appreciate you.
Get fucked up. 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 Get fucked up.
I don't want to see myself as being so bad. I have had to work so hard on my shitty self-image to begin with. I don't want to add that one to it, racist? Oh, God. I'll be blunt. I've struggled with liking myself. Most of them I don't like, so that one, but I don't have a problem with it now, and that's because I've been practicing and working on it for a while, but a while ago.
And it is work, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's work.
Sarah, I'm curious how you feel about, because I've said more than once, and they've mentioned it too, just this idea or this theory that every single white person in this country is racist.
I would say, like, at the beginning of the conversation, it was a little offensive. I think throughout the conversation and understanding a little bit more of my ignorance in the definition of it, I feel like I've shifted a little bit. I will say that. I don't want to be thought of somebody that doesn't like somebody because of the color of their skin. And to me, that's where racism, the term racism falls. And so I guess learning a little bit about that's not necessarily what the definition of racism means changes it for me a little bit.
All right, let me say something real quick. It'll be worth it, I promise. All right. That was something very powerful that happened right there. There is something about these conversations that are very challenging for people. And there's a way, even when the host, especially the Black woman that's hosting, when she challenges the ladies, they're much more likely to get defensive. What that woman did was a perfect example of spending your privilege, because what she did was she admitted about herself. She was talking about herself first. Yes, I'm racist and I couldn't see myself that way. I couldn't accept it, but now I've sort of growing, and yes, it's what white lady to turn to the other lady and say, how do you feel about this idea? And as a teacher, I would say we call that like giving the person an opportunity to perform. Like, rather than coming with a negative challenge, she gave her an opportunity to reflect and think and then respond in a sort of to show her growth, right? So that's a perfect example where you could see, you can lead from every chair. It's not always the facilitator or the leader of the conversation. Sometimes it's just a participant who the other person can relate to a little bit, giving them an opportunity to think through things and show what you've been thinking about. I just thought that was very, very powerful. And if you see an opportunity like that in your conversations, take it.
No, I loved it. This was exactly what I've been talking about. It's just like having the conversations and having this like Nancy Reagan moment, like you can get them. Like we hated her. We still do. But this is the thing I'm talking about where you're planting seeds and it's like, okay, this is a win. And this is what I've been saying for months to people, like the things that you can do. It's like, you don't need to change somebody's whole worldview in it won't happen. What you can do is plant seeds. Just get one win. Can we agree on this? Get this moment here, because this puts you into a position of in-group, and it gets so much easier from here to have that conversation, to have more conversations, to bring them left.
Right. And you can only imagine how much further just that one point, you planting that seed can take.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, I can only imagine what that felt like for her in that moment of bearing all and saying that this is who I've been, and now even if it's only a fraction, I'm now seeing things differently. I'm now hearing things differently. I can only imagine what that did in that moment. But then the days after, when she has to lay her head on a pillow and think, when she's alone in her living room or wherever, and she's having to think these things, those are the moments that we don't get to see, right? And that we don't get to hear about. And hopefully those things continue to happen. Those questions continue to pop up in her mind, and she continues to do research and ask the questions. Hopefully.
Right.
That my son goes through the experience that he did. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about him becoming the white supremacist and pushing it down into the
You have the conversation.
So yes, I have the conversation.
Yeah, over and over and over and over and over again. It's the first step. Just like Regina always says, like, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And the fact that you're able to acknowledge this is a big deal. It's not a small deal, it's a huge deal, because it means you're open and instead of this. And if you're open, then you can actually start like engaging and pass it along to your kids.
All right, so hold on. I have to light my cigarette, and then we need to talk about this part just real quick. This is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and especially with my daughter now that lives with us, lives with Jen and I, and we've had these conversations. As much as we hear it all the time, hate, bigotry, racism are taught. Guess what, parents? We can negate that.
Right.
Yeah.
We can negate that. We can overcome that. And I do that to the best of my ability, especially my child that I have living with us. We have these conversations on a regular basis and challenge them to ask questions, challenge them to experience more than just what, again, that they're comfortable with. And don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, because sometimes it's in those moments of uncomfortability that you're not familiar with the surroundings or the context that you learn the most, because it is outside of your norm, right? So now you're experiencing things and you're learning more about people that you weren't associated with before. And guess what you find out really quick is, man, we all want the same thing. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy this life. We want to be able to communicate with each other and it be on an equal platform and it be on an equal playing field. That can also be taught. Can hate be taught? Hell fucking yeah. We've seen that demonstrated.
Right.
But can the opposite be taught? Abso-fucking-lutely, it can. But it takes us as parents to teach those things and draw those lines in the sand and have our kids understand that I don't give a shit what Tom and Sally and John and May and what all of them say. Here's how we should operate. And we should treat everybody equally, the same way we want to be treated. Treat them, love them, talk to them, speak to them, all of those things, the exact same way that you want to be treated. And I hold that as a badge of honor on my chest as a father, 100%, as I challenge my kids. Fuck the norm, and be willing to be uncomfortable. Because if you're not willing to do that, you are going to end up being ignorant. You're going to end up being ignorant. And then your opinion doesn't matter anymore because you're not willing to challenge yourself to learn. And I don't fuck with ignorant people.
No, that's perfect. I would add two things. So one is you have to, because It's not something you can expect from the education system or another influence in your child's life. That's an education they're either going to get at home or they're not going to get. And then the second thing is that woman spoke from a very reasonable place. Her own fear of her own child becoming, a bigot or something like that. And that feeds back to the woman talking about how bad it feels to be a racist. So for the parents that think that's uncomfortable, well, think about it this way. Do you want to have the conversation at home, or do you want your child to do something out in the world that then gets them that reputation because you didn't have the conversation at home and now it's too late? And if your kid say something racist and bigoted and crazy out in the street, everybody immediately is going to think they got that at home and they learned from you. So you're going to teach them one way or the other. Might as well teach them right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep. And what's that quote? Your silence. Silence. Basically, you're doing as much by being shutting the fuck up and not talking about this shit. You're a culprit. You're guilty by association for not speaking the fuck up, and especially when it comes to our children, because they have malleable minds. And if you're as Jay said, if you're letting the school system or social media or whatever influence their brains, and you don't have a voice, you don't have an influence, they're fucked. You're fucked, because eventually, I'm a big true crime follower. There's recently a young man that he just now got, what was it, 2 or 3 life sentences without parole, and he said it. He said it in his final statement when he got his sentence. He was like, I listened to my friends. I watched and listened to what I saw on social media and from the news organizations, and I followed what they said. That's what led me here, and now I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. And what did he do? He walked into a predominantly black church and killed like 6 black people, because that's what he read online was the thing to do as a young white American.
Was he trying to start a race war?
What'd you say?
Sorry. What'd you say, Maya? I'm sorry.
I was wondering if he was trying to God. Sorry, the echo, God. I was wondering if he was trying to start a race war, because I remember when the last time, I can't remember the kid's name now, but when he shot up, I want to say it was like 9 black people in the church, and he actually got the death penalty.
Yeah, Dylan Roof.
Was that Ruth? Yeah, that was Ruth.
Yeah.
He was trying to start a race war.
Yeah, this one, I can't remember the name of the kid, but look, he said it. He was like, I listened to my friends and what was on social media. They told me that this shit was cool. This is how we're supposed to act. This is how we're supposed to treat black people. And I did that. And now, and I think he had done like 3 years, before the actual trial and sentencing and everything happened. He was like, I now realize, because 3 years later, I think he's 19, 20 years old now. He's like, I now realize how fucking stupid this shit is, but I also know that I'm never going to get out of prison. But it was all, but guess what? His parents didn't even come to the fucking trial. That was my point. And it is
for them.
Like the social media and all that, his friends had more of an influence because the parents were ghost, right? The parents had no say, no influence. And now for no goddamn reason other than social media and friends, we've lost I want to say 6, 7, 8 lives. Get out of here, man.
For no reason.
Come on, parents.
And I just say to anybody who's listening, like, for the love of God, Black people do not want a race war. We're not going to start one. We're not going to engage in it with you. Again, did you see that massacre list that I showed? That's not all of them. We know what happens when there's a race war. It never ends well for us. You're not going to get your goddamn race war. You may as well show up in class solidarity and fight with us. Barbecue the goddamn rich. That's all I'm saying.
I am all the way down for that barbecue.
Hey, Syra, come on in. Are you looking forward to
I
this?
feel like I'm going to throw up. I
Okay.
honestly think I'm going to throw up. I have not really been able to eat anything. I'm not even kidding you.
It's not even that bad. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Let's see.
I want to be in fetal position, but I can't do that from the dining table. The last time I was thrown under the bus by the super liberal news media was when I ran for office and shortly thereafter, and I don't know that anything can compare with that. That was just awful. After an incredibly challenging campaign, I lost. A couple weeks after I lost, I was in the mountains with my family, and there's a professor by the name of George Yancey, black guy out of Emory in Atlanta, and he had written an essay for the New York Times called, "Should I Give Up on White People?" And yes or no. Brown and black people cannot dismantle white supremacy, white people do. That was the gist of his essay. And so I tweeted it, and I said, long and short answer, yes. And then Breitbart picks it up, and then the Daily Stormer picks it up. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting DMs that I'm a Muslim cunt. Pictures of my daughter, your Muslim cunt daughter should be, drowned in the Ganges, and we're gonna use your entire family as target practice. Over and over, and then they don't stop. More and more news outlets pick it up. The only thing I did was say that white people were responsible for dismantling white supremacy, and as a result, I deserved to get death threats. And if you believe someone deserves to get death threats, you think that they deserve to die. The moral of the story is shut the fuck up about racism. And if you don't, we will come for you, we will come for your children, we will come for your life. Is it terrible?
No.
How long is it?
It looks like it's a couple of pages. Would you like me to read it out loud?
How are the pictures?
The pictures are great. Do you want to see them? Or do you want to just sit there and be sick? Okay. Now see, isn't that a good picture? Yeah. White women are uniquely placed to challenge racism because of their proximity to power and wealth, Jackson says.
It seems unlikely anyone would voluntarily go to a dinner party in which they'd be asked one by one, what was a racist thing you did recently by two women of color before appetizers were served? A lot of people hate Syra.
Jackson recalls her initial impressions of Rao as honest and willing to call a thing a thing. But even for those who complain, something has changed. Isn't that the good part?
It's good! I think my mom would be extremely proud of what I'm doing. So I think there would be this tremendous fear. I know that I wouldn't be doing this, and I know that I wouldn't have even woken up Brown if my mom was still alive. And I think about that all the time. I would not be alive right now in this incarnation if my mom was still here. It's a very strange thing. What we're saying is you guys need to pull your heads out of your asses, acknowledge your own racism, make it right, stop caping for white dudes, join us, and let's overthrow the patriarchy. But none of that happens until you acknowledge your own racism.
But so many of us grow up.
That was it right there, y'all.
Yeah. They didn't look amused.
But that's the thing, right? And that's the problem of all of it is white women have always been in a weird place. They're the the closest ones in terms of proximity to white men and their patriarchy. So they're the ones who benefit from it the most indirectly. But they are the first line of marginalization, and so they therefore half identify with other marginalized groups, but half identify with the oppressor. And it's just even just owning their own history, like of suffrage, the fact that when y'all fought for a woman's right to vote, that did not include women of color. So yeah, but she hit it on the
But
head.
they are the front lines. And I don't.
No, it's true. Nothing gets the world more shook, more upset, more we got to do this right now because this white woman is upset than a white woman.
But I mean, again, it's also the proximity to power. They're literally in bed with the enemy. I mean, because like the people that we're talking about, and I think that all the Black people, well, everybody here interracially dates. No shame in that. But the people that we're talking about don't. So we are talking about the white women. These are the women. These are the only acceptable women to our oppressors. And these are also the women, when you get to a certain social class, that are being brainwashed by their own oppressors to toe the line.
Yeah, Maya, because what you just said hit me, because they're not just the only women our oppressors find acceptable. They're the women who find our oppressors acceptable. No, there would be no white supremacy if you couldn't get laid as a white supremacist. There'd be no fascism if being a fascist shut down the pussy. The truth that we've always had to deal with. This is why when I really talk about racism, what I would always say, yeah, the KKK really bothers me, but who really bothers me is the women that cooked dinner for them before they left to burn crosses and laid in bed with them when they got home. Yeah.
Yeah, because sure enough, if that dinner wasn't made or they didn't procreate with them,
We wouldn't Yeah, exactly.
On and we didn't get to it on the first half of this. Man, I had mad notes on white supremacy culture and everything. I won't bring it up right now, but
why?
What I'm fitting to. I said I'm not, but I'm fitting to. Part of white supremacy is also misogyny. And
100%.
They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. When it comes down to that, they don't. Women, period. They don't give a fuck. You are also beneath them.
yeah, 100.
So yes, white supremacy is. My skin is white. I'm better than you. It's that. It's 100% that.
Yep.
Then there's degrees to it, right? And guess what, women? All women, you also are beneath thee, right? And you should also bow your knee. So yes, the fact that you'll sign off on it and say that, oh, this is cool. I'm down for this. Do you understand that you are now also being victimized?
Yep.
And being shit on and being told you are less than.
Right.
Wait,
when Trump was talking about grabbing that pussy, he was talking about the white pussy.
That's right. That's right. And to take it somewhere else is crazy, because how many men are in church to get a good woman? So it's like, she's a firm believer in, I need a good godly man who's gonna make me subservient and be the head over my life. And now he drawn to the church because you demand to be impressed by somebody before you'll truly love them. I mean, it's crazy, but that's what we're dealing with.
And guess what? You can get on Google. You can get on Google every day and just put a search. What pastor got arrested today?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a new one. There's going to be a new one. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, it has to do with some type of sexual assault.
Yep.
Some type of abuse. Some type of something. So don't tell me that the shit isn't real. It happens every fucking day.
History and to be proud of the founding fathers and this democratic system and blah, 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 blah. But it's important that we learn how we've been programmed and the trance that we're in. It's a trance. It really is.
It's a programming that needs to be overcome, indeed.
Who do we want to be?
Why does it all have to have labels anyway, though? And indeed, I understand you have issues with a skin color, okay? But I don't believe that's our future. I really don't. I see it much different. I understand it's a struggle for you now. I get that. And I empathize with that. But do I love you less because you're a different color? Absolutely not.
But do you realize that everything you're saying is taking away everything they just said?
That is such bullshit. Everything you just said is such bullshit, frankly.
But it is.
It is.
But it is. You literally erased everything this woman just said. Like everything.
Because you want me to apologize for that? Because really, I believe it's a real struggle.
Honestly, if you're not sorry, don't apologize.
No,
but
I
at the
believe
same
it's a
time,
real struggle. But I do believe there's more.
But you're talking about love and about the future.
Anger.
She's worried that her kids are gonna die.
What is love?
What is love? What is that about feeling love?
We kind of had this conversation before the dinner a little bit, and I got a sense of this, is that you read the book The Secret, and you think that we can all get better lives based on good intentions. We just got to be positive and want good for our lives. But what do you want it about?
Okay, I just have to say this because at the top, Jay, you weren't here yet, but that is Michelle. Michelle's the one that just got done, and that's when I said at the very top, Michelle's fluff. Yeah. Michelle's fluff. Oh, it's unicorns and rainbows, and we can all find this common place, guys. We can all do this together.
Just think
positive thoughts and ignore all the real shit. Let's just pretend.
Yeah, and
let's just pretend and make believe.
She just fucking erased everything she fucking said. Just everything. But
yeah, and it was really bad when she said that. Oh man, I just drew a blank in the middle of my sentence. I'm so sorry. But she starts out with oh yeah, that's what I was saying earlier when I was talking about how white women are the ones that are being brainwashed by their oppressors, and she is the quintessential that whole well, if we just think positively and everything's going to be okay and we just need to be peacemakers. She's like the quintessential white liberal, that is I forget the quote exactly, but more interested in maintaining peace, a faux peace, than in real progress. And I know that's not what Martin Luther King said exactly, but that it is the gist of it. It's just can we just take on can we just all get along so that I don't have to be upset by you guys not being happy.
Right.
And that would make me feel so much better. And the world would be a better place.
Right.
If I felt better.
Exactly. And that so relates to more of the beginning of the documentary where Rao, I think I'm pronouncing her name right. I totally am not. The Indian woman is she expressed that in the face of black women trying to convey their history or their feelings or things that have happened to them, all white people or white women can do is be kind and smile in your face and say, oh well, I empathize and that just makes me so upset, but it'll be okay. That's literally what she said in the beginning of the documentary about that's what all people want to be seen as. They want to be seen as peaceful. They want to be seen as kind and looking like they understand. Her just blatantly say, I get it, I understand. You don't understand because you would literally not be saying what you just fucking said right now.
Yeah, and I think part of it too goes back to what I was saying. That's what I was saying about when they want to talk about truth and reconciliation, right? Because this is that I just want to hear about it, smile in your face. Okay, I learned, y'all educated me today. Catch you on the flip side. Part of what people don't want to deal with, and I felt the same way in response to the election, was if you really face the ugliness, it might tell you something different about yourself, and you might have to do something differently. A lot of these people, they buy into that narrative of I've earned this life that I built for myself. All this is mine. I earned it, and now they're hit with, well, I may have had a leg up that some other people didn't have. And then on top of that, we're saying, okay, fine, you got all of that, but now that means you got the resources. And this problem over here requires some real expenditure of some resources. So now that you've acknowledged, you could really help out. And that's the challenge where a lot of people don't want to take it to. So a lot of the people who are sort of fluffy, I think that's part of it, is they don't really want to commit themselves to what might be very uncomfortable change that might be required of them if they acknowledge the real issues.
Right, absolutely, and it's because they probably have not and will never have to deal with those things. Like we talked about in the first stream with Jen and I is what's her name again? Michelle. I want to say her name.
Aaron,
check
Marley.
my notes. Michelle. Fluff. Michelle. Michelle. Have you ever woke up in the morning? Your kids go to school, and you worry about your kids being pulled over by cops and being murdered on their way to school. Have you ever worried about that?
You have to talk with your sons.
Probably not. You've probably never had to worry about that. Michelle, with probably all the high security that you have in your house, cameras and everything, your Ring doorbell, everything, have you ever had to worry about someone breaking into your house and murdering you? Probably not. Michelle,
and the police not caring.
Yeah, exactly. And Michelle, when you go to apply for a job, are you ever automatically disqualified because of the color of your skin? Oh, probably not that either. Michelle, have your kids ever been rejected from a school because the color of their skin? Oh, probably not that either. And Michelle, when your kids are driving down the road in the car that you bought them, have you ever worried about them getting pulled over just because of the color of the skin? Because there is such a thing as being pulled over because you're driving while black. Notice we don't have a thing called driving while white, Michelle. Have you ever experienced it? Oh, you haven't. You haven't. And that's where, again, I'm the king of the pause button. Even this older white gal is looking at her like, are you fucking stupid or something? Shh. Are you fucking stupid or something? Look at the way she's looking at her. Are you fucking Michelle, get off your unicorn and pay attention.
We are telling you, and you can Google police brutality, Google ICE, Mexicans, Google Muslim ban. Those are like real things. We're also anecdotally telling you things, and you keep coming back with this, frankly, BS about love being love and love trumps. Like, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is that beyond the anger and the problems that we are feeling at the moment, each and every one of us, perhaps you two more at the moment, that there is something more to.
No, please let her finish. Please.
No, I can't at the moment. I can't right now. At the moment, and this is where I as the white dude. What do you mean at the moment, you white bitch? What do you mean at the moment? This is what Black America has been dealing with for forever. For forever. You're worried about the moment? This little second in time that you feel uncomfortable. That someone has challenged you. You dumb bitch.
She's
trying to speak in Jesus.
And it isn't the flesh. It isn't. And beyond that, this is the evolution of all of us. I know this, and I know it sounds weird for those who aren't in that world, but we are transcending this. We are. And Sir, I just want to say it again. Syra. I really appreciate everything you're offering. What I want to hear from you is what you think is a solution. You've talked a lot, but I haven't heard, hey, this is what I want you ladies to do.
Haven't I said repeatedly? Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to
She really has said it repeatedly.
I acknowledge it.
But yeah, like,
but I just see beyond it.
Can I say one thing?
Sure, I'm sorry.
I see beyond this.
I am a liberal white woman. We are absolutely the most dangerous women out there. We are the most dangerous women that exist because we want to think that we are better, that we are good, and that we're doing is about love, and that we're going to solve all the world's issues because we're going to love a little more.
Somebody put a crown in this queen's head.
Freaking people. No.
Hey. Fuck that. Cheers. Cheers to her. God damn it.
Keep going. Shit.
We are erasing their experiences. We are erasing their lives. We are erasing the danger that they're in because we're trying to color it and make it freaking pretty.
By calling it love.
By calling it love. And I'm sorry, but that is dangerous. Like,
But I don't think that's what I'm doing at all.
But you have done it repeatedly.
Yeah.
Does love save the Mexicans who are in ICE facilities? Does love save Trayvon Martin? Does love save Sandra Bland? Does love save Mustafa Ayyubi, who was assassinated in February for doing nothing? What does you ask us, what can we do? Seriously, and we've told you at least 10 times. Listen, what can we do to achieve this love of which you speak?
Well, I think dropping the resistance is part of it. And
dropping the
resistance to what? The resistance to what?
The resistance is holding you back.
The resistance to what? What are we resisting?
It feels like a lot. It feels like a lot. And so I don't pretend to have all the answers at all.
You haven't named one thing. You said it feels like a lot. She's asked you 3 times, what are we resisting? Name one thing that we're resisting.
An answer, a solution that's different than what you think it should be.
You literally employ the spiritual bypassing to get around any of the pain associated with oppression. I would love to say love is love. The next time someone sends me a note telling me that they're gonna drown my daughter, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Downward dog it right now. Love is love. Love is fucking love. Seriously.
So we can acknowledge, I'm going to acknowledge that, yes, after you said that, I can acknowledge, yes, I see racism in me after I've said no because of what you women have said. We have to understand where it hurts. Where hurts, hurts. And we can't take away hurt from other people. I mean, and that's where I think we have to be sympathetic at one point, too.
To add to that a little bit is like, we're not dying because we're white. Right. I'm not allowed to go somewhere.
Oh my God. Come on.
Come on, Karen. Let's go. Let's go, Karen.
That bitch recovered. She is healed.
Hey, hold on.
Healed.
Hold on. Let the church say amen. Let the church say amen. God damn it. Somebody got it.
We're not dying because we're white.
Bye, Felicia.
Shit.
Yes. You can come to the cookout. You can't make the potato salad, but you can come.
Don't you fucking put no raisins in nothing.
I was about to say, if you come to the cookout with some raisins and some shit, you getting kicked the fuck out. Hey, and see that. Oh man, that's beautiful. That's fucking beautiful.
That's it.
And now she's calling like, now, hey, what the fuck you talking about, bitch? The fuck is you talking about, bitch?
Oh, when they turn on each other, it's sweet. No, it's kidding.
Hey, that deserves a drink. God damn it.
2, it goes 1, 2, 3, fuck that. Get fucked up, 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 get fucked up.
Hell yeah, whiskey, no raisins.
So I can say love is love because nobody says no you can't. I think that's the purpose. Like people are saying you can't come here, even though we were all taught right in history that this was fixed years ago. It was fixed.
And my kids, I will never know what my kids even feel like because they are part Hispanic and with Hispanic. I will never know their fear because I'm not there. I'll never know what they fear.
Do you realize that in this room, the Republican that voted for Trump
have listened more than you have.
And she changed what she said. She said, actually, I get it.
Yes.
And yet you keep saying love is love. And that's why I'm saying white liberal women are the most dangerous. Because we think we're so good that we can't be part of the problem.
So I do want to leave you with this. There's no, and I mean this sincerely, my 2 little kids are at home, my husband's at home. I'm not doing this for my health. The reason I am here is because of love. So to answer your question repeatedly, it is because of love. The work that I do is because of love. Everything I do is because of love. And by showing you my pain, I have opened myself up so greatly to take more and more and more abuse. And why? Because I actually believe in you. Sincerely, at the bottom of my heart, I believe that you all can wake up just like I did. You can deprogram yourself just like you did.
Still working on it.
Over the course of one dinner, Marnie, you are able to even slightly open the window. I am more hopeful than you will ever know. This should be an indication of the amount of love that I have and the amount of hope that I have. And I have expectations still. Regina doesn't, and you're still here. So why don't you?
Anyway, do not expect it to be easy because it's not going to be easy. You're going to question everything you ever learned. You know, it's hard. It's hard work. And everything worth having is hard.
So who in this room, raise your hand if you're a racist. Dang! Woo! We did it! Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Jen and I keep muting and unmuting each other.
You told me to control the mute.
I did. It's my bad.
And then you keep fucking it up.
It's my bad. I can't multitask for shit.
Jesus. But yet you're doing it.
God damn it. God damn it. But no, you hey. Who would like to dive in first?
The Trump supporters are still going to vote for Trump, but it's the planted seeds, and we need more of this. Jay?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was a great conversation. I was really glad. I felt she left them at the end with the good challenge. A lot of it is just. The tough part about this is, you're kind of turning people loose. I always felt this, like I said, I did facilitate race dialogue for a long time at Penn State. And sometimes you would really feel like you had a great, productive conversation with people, but there was really no mechanism for follow-up. Like, it'd be great if, these women, just exchanged contacts information and kept in touch with each other or started a group chat or something like that, because support community can make the difference in continuing the work versus not continuing the work. But I'm definitely optimistic about what they did. This fits into a tradition that I think I've been a fan of. I think real change happens through dialogue amongst people, and and it's not really about not to say it's not about what we do in the election booth or what we do in the businesses and all that stuff. Those things matter, but they're not where we grow. They're not where we learn. They're not where we change. They're where we show where we're at, right? Where we actually get each other to a different place is all the conversations and things that we do in between. So I think that's a great project. I would just love. I'm glad y'all showed it. I thought it was a really great stream you did last week. There's definitely a lot I wanted to say. So thanks for inviting me on. And I would love to have more conversations like that in our community.
Same.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Absolutely. You doing it again? You told me to control it, sir. Sorry. We keep. Some of y'all who have jumped in last minute have been here, even for Jay when we talked about this earlier. With our soundboard that we share, it's affected a lot of echoing that Maya had at the start of the stream. So we've had to mute our side so that she doesn't echo. So that's why we're like playfully back and forth being muted all the time. But he gave me the assignment to mute and unmute, and he keeps fucking it up, buddy.
I did. I kept fucking it up. My ADHD, I can't even follow my own directions. God damn it.
So anyway, I appreciate.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, yes, that's what I was gonna say. I appreciate both you, Maya, and Jay for being here. I admire you both for what you already do with the Black Freethinkers and the rest of you do on your own personal channels. Anyway,
Invited anytime.
The way my work, like you said, like again, I changed my fucking job again within the last month. I decided that I didn't want to do management right now because they were not complying with my managerial skills. So I moved away from that so I can have a life. And I work a regular ass 9 to 5 and I'm just as happy because I can be the nurse that I want to be. Anyway, but in due time, I'm getting myself to getting a schedule down, but that's besides the point. I thank you, Jay, for when you jumped in on the first stream and listened to all this, because like I said, it purely was out of happenstance where I landed on this documentary on YouTube, and I was like, we gotta fucking watch this, babe. And then babe was like, we just gotta fucking stream it. And I'm like, well, then let's go. And I love and appreciate that, so many of you guys in the chat that are viewing right now, last weekend now, because you don't see vital conversations like this. And this, I think even you, Maya, had said this to me when we were communicating earlier, where the fuck was this? 2 years ago when it came out, because this was this is amazing. I wish I knew about it sooner. And I hope I'm gonna do some more deep diving for shit like this, because it's conversations that we need to have like this that needs to occur more. I hope these two ladies still continue on this organization that they built. And fuck, I wish I'm grateful that we have people that want to listen and know and learn. And of course, share it with people that it will make them upset, because you know why? They need to fucking be upset. Because it's not until they face what makes them upset, being called a racist or not wanting to face the real truth about America's history, which is Black history, which is America's history, knowing that only should, in the words of Michelle, make love beautiful and everything positive and blah, blah, blah. Because, I want to hope for that too. I mean, if I had children, I would want to hope my Black child is not met with the kind of bullshit I went through, or what my mother experienced before me, or what my mother's mother experienced before her. Because why? My grandmother was mostly a white woman because her father was white. Out of just guess why. And it wasn't the happy kind. So it's things like this that, even just with talking with Oz's daughter just a couple days ago, knowing that to this day, not surprised given the state that I live in now, but even I wouldn't even be, I'd be more surprised just being in California, like just given that this, the education is lacking in the true history of this country alone, just in this country alone, mind you, not even world history for that matter, just the experience of Black history, of all of that, and what white people are so eagerly trying to bury is sad. And it only becomes worse if we don't talk about it more. So I hope to find more about this. I hope to have more conversations about this. I'm all about it. And I love and appreciate both of you and Babe, of course, for having this dialogue. So thank you.
All day, and I'll keep my short because I want Maya and Jay to be able to talk about their shit, what they're doing. All I'm gonna say is I'm like the fucking ugly fat kid at prom. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I'm grateful to be included in the conversation, and all I have to say is, Maya, Jay, Jena, I love you guys so much. And I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of it, and I'm still learning. And I'll say that I'm still learning, and I'm at no point ashamed to say I don't know. Teach me. I don't know. Educate me. I'm never above that. Never beyond that. That's 100. We can do that all day, every day. And I'll give a little cliffhanger here. Jena did find a far right Christian response to said documentary that we just watched. If you two would like to be involved in that, we're going to break that down as well on another stream because it's disgusting. It's disgusting as fuck. If you like to be a part of that, you're more welcome to be a part of that. But once we break all this down, I will be DJing because I have a concert to get ready for tomorrow night. But that's it for me. From me, Maya. Where can everybody find you? What's going on? And then followed by Jay, and we'll shut this shit down.
Like, I just scared about that. So you can find me at Maya Adkison on YouTube. We go live every Sunday, 9:30 p.m. EST for Bad Science Sunday. This week we have Grayson coming on to talk to us about I don't know, something eugenics. And I don't know, Jay, I might need you there because I'm I took a lot of biology classes. That was 20 years ago. And you do you're an evolutionary biologist, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk. I might need you there.
Yeah. I
dabble a little bit. Yeah.
We like to dismantle bad science we find on the internet for your entertainment. What do you do, Jay?
Pocket Locker 86. Pocket Locker 86. We'll have Hot Program on Sunday and Black Free Thinkers every other Monday on Skeptic Haven. And I might do a stream. I got a bunch of stuff I've been meaning to stream about. So yeah, come subscribe, and I'll probably do some streams. Maybe tomorrow or early next week.
Hey, Jay, can you give me a really good Macho Man Randy Savage snap it to a Slim Jim?
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, snap it to a Slim Jim. Oh yeah,
dig it.
Jesus.
I told you, I was like, hey, Jay and we are one and the same when it comes to our WWF background.
That's right.
All right. So one last time, everybody, thanks for hanging out. And there will be a cliffhanger from this where then we respond to the far right wing of this shit. And again, Maya and Jay, if you'd like to be a part of that, you're more than welcome. But it's going to be bananas. Love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll be over at the DJ Ozzy Oz channel doing the crazy DJ and shit if you want to check that out.
You're now rocking with DJ Oz, Ozzy.